Look at that, too. You saw that coming.
Oh, baby, Gus Josh and Bill Raftery on the call for Fox Sports. Little Gus doing some Team USA versus Canada. And Canada came out, they were up 11-1, and the U.S. turned up the defense, and they didn't look back. They win 86-72. A little exhibition against Canada. Dylan Brooks, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, Jamal Murray, and whatnot. And so, it's a lot of fun watching Team USA. We got a lot going on today, man. Welcome back, Joe Shasky. Joe Shasky, the Butcher, is back in the building. And shout out to our friends at Flowing Water Plumbing and Drain. If you're going to call into the roast, you better bring it, because if you don't, you will be flushed. Brought to you by Flowing Water Plumbing and Drain. Good morning to everybody out there getting off the graveyard shift. Oh, baby, overnight dancers. You better be in Las Vegas right now, because I'm not sure there's a lot of money out here late night in the city during these days, especially with the Giants losing the way they did last night. So a lot going on. Copa America final set, Euro final set. We got the receiver doc. We got Hard Knocks. There's a lot going on in the sports world, Shasky.
And Steph Curry pushing LeBron James into a screen so that he could shoot an open three.
You like that? You like that?
I actually loved it. One thing I'd like to start right here. I love sports for a variety of reasons, but these types of things where you get to put on the United States flag, if you will, metaphorically, and wrap it around your body, it does matter to these guys. I mean, it just does. I've referenced this probably 15 times since you and I have gotten together, but I love sports. I didn't love Kobe. I respected Kobe for the longest time. I knew how great he was, but I didn't love Kobe. I was like, he's a Laker, and he's trying to replicate the whole Michael Jordan thing, and I thought he was great, but he wasn't Michael. It was like, can you do your own thing? But then I got to root for him when he was part of Team USA. And my entire just opinion and how I viewed Kobe Bryant shifted dramatically. And I just started to appreciate a great player for what he was, And I look at Steph Curry and I'm like, dude, watching Steph play on the USA team, for me as a Warrior fan, is awesome, right? Yeah, of course I want him to not get hurt so that he's healthy for my team. That goes without saying.
Time out for a second. Why as fans do we do that? We think, I go into sports, how I view sports or how I watch games. I don't watch him thinking, boy, I just hope he doesn't get hurt.
No,
I hope he doesn't get hurt. I just assume they're Superman. I just assume they're Superman, and in a video game, right, where they got their energy bars or what. I'm like, their energy bars are always there. I got the turbo button ready to press it. We're all good. And then when the injury happens, you react to it. But I don't know why some people they're so concerned about him getting hurt in the Olympics. It's just so strange to me.
I mean, we've seen guys like Lamar Jackson got hurt at practice. We've seen guys like Teddy Bridgewater get hurt at practice. We've seen Klay Thompson get hurt at practice. And look, football I put in a different category than the other sports, but I just these guys play ball. That's what they do. They play ball. And so I have zero qualms, and in fact I am embracing Steph Curry in this moment. And look, we could joke a lot about how we can't stand LeBron here, and I get all that, but if you step back and you do love the game of basketball, LeBron and Steph on the same team, it's freaking awesome.
No, it is cool. It's cool to see them, the 50th anniversary of USA basketball. You see Barack Obama talking to the team.
So cool.
They're talking about the history. They're bringing in all the legends. And it's cool to see, Dwayne Wade stop by. It's cool to see Andre Iguodala and Sean Marion and all the former USA, Carmelo Anthony. You see all these legends. Doug Collins was out there. I knew, who they got jobbed in the Olympic Games way back when for a gold medal by the Russians. They got jobbed. They really did. And so it means something to do that. And I'm a sucker for all the content that they've been producing for Team USA.
Agree.
All the ballers there, the USA select team, Brandon Pajimski and TJD getting some work against the Dream Team. You see Cooper Flagg, who's getting all the love there. But it's also, as we think we're passing the torch, it feels like this is the last swan song for guys like LeBron James, Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, the old guard, if you will. And you see the team photo of LeBron holding the basketball right in the middle, and he's leading the charge with the starters. Now, Anthony Edwards and Jason Tatum yesterday was dynamic. They may turn out to be your best players on this current iteration, on this current squad, but it's good to see LeBron, Steph, KD, even AD yesterday was a lot of fun to see them kind of get their flowers here, because this may be the last time we see them on a platform. Well, obviously they're going to have national TV games or whatnot, but I'm talking about conference finals and finals. We may not see those guys ever again on that stage.
Well, they're still great, but it's pretty obvious there's a passing of the torch going on right now. I mean, it just is, As you watch SGA on Team Canada, Dylan Brooks running his mouth. I mean, she's
You gotta
Dylan,
love it.
I mean,
You gotta love it.
The guy, he's just.
You gotta love it.
I'll give him this.
He's good for the
game. He's committed to the bit.
He's committed to the bit.
He's committed to the bit, and I'll give it to him. But when I look at Steph Curry and LeBron James and Kevin Durant, who's got the calf strain, and Kawhi's bowing out, I mean, Bonte, the sand is almost out of the hourglass. And it's time for guys like Anthony Davis, even though he's a lot older than some of these other guys. Anthony Davis looked phenomenal. It feels like it's Jason Tatum's moment. Yep. It's Anthony Edwards' kind of runway for the next couple of years. Joel Embiid, can you stay on the floor for more than 11 minutes without fouling everyone? I mean, am I the only one that thinks that?
Second unit, though, was fun. Tyrese Halliburton, Anthony Edwards, Bam Adebayo, Jason Tatum, Anthony Davis. They slipped that basketball game. Embiid to get in the shape. Remember, he hasn't played in a while. He's rusty. They've only had 4 practices. I'm not going to freak out. This is why you got to play through bigs. You know, you got an embarrassment of riches right now. Anthony Davis and Bam Adebayo. And if you want to go small, you can go small with this team. How about the small ball lineup? You go AD at the 5, LeBron at the 4. You got Steph. You got Anthony Edwards. You got so many combinations. Steve Kerr can't go wrong with these lineups. So, you know what?
Let me stop you there.
He can't go wrong. Now, the starting lineup.
People are criticizing Steve Kerr's lineups.
They are,
worse
but really.
than a Warrior preseason game.
Yeah, they are. And that's what they're going to do. And the 8 turnovers in the first quarter, they're going to point at Steve Kerr when it's really the players who just haven't had a lot of practice time together. You can't go wrong with a Team USA. You got to be really bad as a coach to really mess up the lineup combinations. You got firepower everywhere. You should be fine with your lineups moving forward.
No, I agree with you, but the gap between the world and the United States is nowhere near what it was 30, 40 years ago.
No doubt, it's shrunk.
Shrunk?
No doubt it's shrunk.
The margins are way thinner than we want to admit.
It's
period.
shrunk.
They just are, you know, and so I look at this team, and they should win on paper. I think it's going to be a lot harder than people think it is. And, you know, when you're, and I get why, like you add Drew Holiday, for example, and everyone's losing their minds about Jaylen Brown. The reason why I actually think Jaylen Brown would be a great addition to this team is because he does like to do all the nasty, dirty work that a lot of the other Apex superstars don't want to do.
They really botched that. I mean, Derek White.
He's a really good player.
White.
I do too.
I really like Derek White.
But Jaylen Brown.
But no, it was the natural. I mean, Kawhi Leonard's a small forward. Jaylen Brown's a small forward. It felt like just an easy little swap. Boop, boop.
I mean, he plays elite perimeter defense. He's an unbelievable athlete. On a court filled with athletes, he might be one of the best, right? So, I'm 100% with you. I would love to have seen him on this team. And I just find him to be a really fun player. And if again, I understand it's bigger than that because it's about winning the FIBA and then winning this and winning that, winning the an Olympic gold medal. But like, also, isn't this about kind of like ushering in the new era of American basketball? Yep. And you want to kind of highlight some of your American stars? I would have Tatum and Brown front and center with that second unit.
So Grant Hill said this, because I'm reading it right now as we talk about Jaylen Brown. Hill was asked about it after the game, shot down the idea that the shoe company Nike had anything to do with the decision to pick White, because Jaylen Brown was like, whoa. He tweeted a series of emojis and then tweeted at Nike, this what we doing? Nike is a sponsor of Team USA. But Grant Hill said, look, man, you get 12 spots, you have to build a team, and one of the hardest things is leaving people off the roster that I'm a fan of, that I look forward to watching throughout the season, throughout the playoffs, guys who've been finals MVPs, guys who've been part of the program, guys who have won gold medals, guys who I respect, admire, and enjoy watching. But the responsibility that I have is to put together a team, and a team that complements each other, a team that fits, a team that will give us the best opportunity for success. And so whatever theories might be out there, they're just that. But that's my responsibility, and it's tough. It's tough to have conversations, tell people they're not on the team. I'm trying to win, and I'm trying to put together the right pieces that fit and give us a chance to win. Now, Derek White, Jaylen Brown, you're probably still going to win gold medal. I'm expecting the USA to win the gold. However, it just felt like Jaylen Brown's a natural coming off that finals run. I mean, he's a $300 million player. He's marketable. He speaks out. He's for the country. He's for the culture. It felt like a natural, hey, Jaylen Brown, come on down. And I didn't think he wanted to play, which is why they called Derek White. But apparently he does want to play.
Look, we don't know whether Nike put their thumb on the scale here in this situation. But I do know this. In years past, when it came to Curry, part of the Durant thing was Nike was like, yeah, it wouldn't be the worst thing to kind of stamp, keep Under Armour down a little. And if you don't think those conversations are happening backdoor channels, they are. Yep. I just don't know how I don't know how much they can actually dictate real change. They might suggest things, and I actually don't put it past these shoe companies. I mean, we're talking billions and billions and billions of dollars. That's a lot of influence.
So this is what I'm just Google this up. Brown currently not signed to a sneaker anywhere.
He was had previously Adidas at one point,
previously wore Adidas.
Yeah.
However, in 2022, Jaylen Brown criticized Nike founder Phil Knight for his treatment of Kyrie Irving after the Brooklyn Nets star shared an anti-Semitic film on social media. And so he did have a deal with Adidas his first 5 years. And so he thinks Nike, oh, wow, that's interesting. That's interesting. So Jaylen Brown has his motivation for next season. Good luck the rest of the NBA.
I'm really here, though, for this Team USA stuff, and I'm enjoying it. And I understand that there's an entire segment of Warrior Steph fans that is losing their mind while watching Steph. He's gonna become longing for playing on a team this loaded and all that. And I get all that. And coming back to the reality of where the Warriors are at, I understand being worried. And could Steph be recruited by 50 million teams? Of course he's being. If you think that it took Team USA for Steph to be recruited by other players in the league, like you don't understand what's going on
What
here.
you think about this? Because we haven't talked for 2 days. Here's Stephen Curry the other day on the ESPN with Malika Andrews.
I can clearly say I want to be a Warrior for life. That's always been my goal. And I'm saying that sitting in this chair right now. But like you said, life, and especially life in the NBA, it is a wild environment, and things change quickly. The league has changed quickly. So we're trying to adapt and evolve. And until that, I'll let everybody know if that changes. But right now, like, of course, the goal is always to be to finish my career with one team.
So the quote, when I read the quote, it looked a lot worse. It sounded a lot worse. But then when you hear the tone of Stephen Curry discussing the situation, I don't get. He wants to be a Warrior for his entire career. I that's what I gather out of it. However, he's not a dummy, and we're not dumb, and we're not silly to know that if the Warriors kind of go sideways here and they bottom out and they start nosediving and he's still playing at a high level, then yeah, he will look elsewhere and say, you know what? Maybe the ship is sailed. But I think right now Steph Curry trusts the organization to try to build the best team around him. Right now, look, on paper, we could discuss this team, whether or not they're better than last year or whatnot. We got to see it play out. Organizationally, they're in a better position financially to make more moves. But right now, I don't get the sense that Steph Curry's going to be knocking on Joe Lacombe's door or Mike Dunleavy saying, get me out of here. I don't see that happening over the next 6 months.
I just think everybody needs to take a deep breath. It's okay, Warrior fans. We're going to be all right. He'll probably get an extension in the next couple of weeks for another 3 years tacked onto the back of his contract. That doesn't mean that he's going to be here locked in, but that's the same thing with every superstar in the NBA. They could always hit that parachute eject button. I would just say this, of all the players who understand common sense and big picture, and not to say something that you could use against them later on down the line, I just think Steph Curry is a well-rounded, pretty reasonable, logical thinker. And when you hear it, the way that you expressed it right there, it doesn't come off as nefarious as it looks on paper.
Yeah, no, he's chilling, man. He's chilling right now. Anthony Slater joined us yesterday. Here's where things stand on that Steph Curry extension.
The general point is, I think you can only add an extra year. He has 2 years left. Historically, the Warriors have shown they don't really like to or really have the conversation with guys until they're it would be a next summer conversation. Mm-hmm. Now, Steph Curry's kind of his own beast. If he comes demanding an extra year be tacked on, I think it's something they would at least have to listen to. But, we're not to that point of the summer. Maybe that is a conversation that happens later in the summer. Maybe both sides are just like, hey, let's just see how this thing looks, what can or can't get done from a transaction standpoint, how the young guys look, how the future looks. And I think they'll know a lot more about that come January, February, next off season than we know at this moment.
See, I was under the impression, I read 3 different articles on this heading into the offseason. And look, the CBA's new, so maybe there's new information. But my understanding is that at any time on the current team you're with, the maximum, as long as you didn't sign as a free agent, you can add on up to 5 years. You can be under contract for up to 5 years. So he was eligible from the Bobby Marks articles. I remember I tagged it and sent it to the thing. But this is semantics. But 3 years at whatever the maximum would end up being if they all agree. Could he add 1 or 2? I'm sure he could.
Right.
And quite honestly, I want him to add as many years as he possibly can.
Yeah, Steph's not going anywhere. And I know we were doing we had the summit the other day at Fremont Bank. Shout out to Fremont Bank. What a great time out there in Fremont, California, with all Fremont Bank showed us so much love and all the fans and the audience. It was an incredible scene. Incredible. I always like getting out there, man. Seeing everybody. For the summit?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll let you decide that.
Well, I thought that Guru played the ultimate like baby face, where he was just literally like doing the Hulk Hogan and cupping his ears to the crowd, and so he would just say whatever the crowd wanted to hear. And then the ultimate heel in Matt Steinmetz showed up and said everything we don't want to hear.
Yeah.
Like, hey, Houston, your people stink and there's no good food. You know how like when like the wrestler does that, you know?
No doubt.
There's nothing good to do here. Like that's
The Rock just did it in Glendale, Arizona.
Yes,
we called everybody
exactly.
Phoenix meth heads.
and I feel like Steiny did the exact same thing. It was just
he brought up, trade. You want to have Steph Curry and you don't want to trade him. No, nobody wants to trade Steph and Curry because
Blake Snell.
I asked Spinoni this, diehard Laker fan. Nobody wanted Kobe out of that Laker uniform.
No.
Nobody wanted Dirk out that Mavericks uniform. You think Celtic fans wanted Larry Bird in another uniform? You think, you know how cringeworthy it is for Bulls fans to even see the image of Jordan in a Wizards uniform? That's not right. That's not right at all. So people can say, yeah, let's trade Steph for all these picks and blah, 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 blah. One, there's no guarantee the picks pan out. Number two, what happens to your business when you trade Steph and Curry? Your ticket prices, your revenue streams, sellouts. Yeah, you don't want to do that. Steph, and if anything we've learned, and I said this at the summit, if we've learned anything about this market over the last 5 years, the Giants won 107 games in 2021. They were getting sellouts until September. All right? Why? Because you didn't have that star.
no doubt.
You need a star in this market.
Look at the Niners.
You need stars.
Football is already the number one consumed sport in America. And the Niners have how many stars? Like, I'm watching the Debo and Kittle thing with the receiver, and I realize, like you remember that they're like, they have stars everywhere.
Stars everywhere.
Bosa, Warner, McCaffrey, Purdy, Debo, Kittle. I mean, it's unbelievable. I'm also thinking about Brandon Ayuk, by the way, and we can get into that at some point. Watching the receiver doc and seeing how some of these other guys go about their business. I'm not knocking Ayuk at all. It's just, there are so many unique, different talents at wide receiver in the league. It's wild. The league is flush with superstars.
No, they are.
The NFL.
But this market, going back to this market, bringing it back to the Bay Area, we need a star.
100%.
You don't have a star on your team. People we're now starting to flock because of Elliot Ramos, and we think that maybe we have something there. But still, you're getting some good crowds because there's not much to do in the sports world right now in the Bay Area. But you need that. You need that marquee player in your franchise. Barry Bonds last couple of years, the Giants sucked.
Well, and I'm glad you brought up Elliot Ramos because I saw a YouTube video and different shows here. We're talking about Elliot Ramos is a star. There's really good baseball players, okay? And or any sport. And then there are the really high quality players. That doesn't equate star.
Right.
Star means you're bigger, and this is where the superstar conversation happens. It's bigger than just on-field performance, on-court performance. You have to have an aura about you. It's the way you go about it. There's an intoxication. For example, Matt Cain might have been a quote-unquote big deal here in the Bay Area. I never viewed him as a star.
As a household name.
He's a great player.
Lincecum was a household name.
Lincecum was a star.
He was a household name. He was a household name.
And
so my point
Ramos isn't there yet.
So my point is, if you want to start talking about trading Stephen Curry, which I'm not interested in,
exactly,
you better realize what's going to happen. Because Kuminga ain't the star we all think he is right now.
No,
and that's not knocking Kuminga.
No, not
that's
yet.
Not knocking Kuminga.
Maybe he does.
Maybe he does. But when you trade, this is a star market. You got to have superstars. And before you think about trading them, who's next in place? So that's where I'm at with the Steph Curry thing. But something was a lot of fun. We're going to have a lot of fun here on the Morning Roast today. Fleming's going to join us at some point. What time is Fleming joining us? What time? 8:30. 8:30. Jay Fleming is going to join us at 8:30. That's all coming up on the game, brought to you by Fremont Bank, celebrating 60 years of full-service banking with no compromises.
This Monday, Lifts one to left field. He's tagged it pretty well, and he's done it again. Ernie Clement with his second three-run homer in as many games. And the Blue Jays have the lead.
Now, back to the morning roast with Bonte and Shasky.
Dan Schulman on a call for Blue Jays Television Network. What do they have up there? Not Mass.
Sky Sports?
Sportsnet.
Sportsnet. That's right. Sportsnet. They had some great radio studios when I was up there in Toronto. Sportsnet. Yeah, they're big on our Blue Jays. But this guy, Ernie Clement, I'd never heard of the guy until yesterday or 2 days ago. Now he's got back-to-back days where he hits three-run homers.
So I'm not alone.
You're not alone. I'd never heard of the guy. It's like, who the hell is Clement? Not Roberto Clemente anyway. Giants lose, and really a disheartening loss. 45-48 now. Nate Clement's, what is it, $80 million contract with the Niners?
Should have returned more punts.
Maybe. Maybe should have took care of the ball and not let Roddy Wright strip him. Anyway.
I'm so ready for football, and I know you're going to go on to baseball here, but I just... The two docs that have come out, Hard Knocks and Receiver,
it's great. It's great. Yo, you don't want to talk Giants right now?
No, let's get into it.
Are you sure? Don't tell me. I'll beeline past the Giants in a heartbeat, especially after last night.
I am rooting against the Giants. Why is that? Why is that being utilized?
Well, because that's what you're doing. You're rooting against the Giants. So this is a good development for you. For them to lose 10-6. Give up 6 runs in the 6th inning.
Well, they lose.
This is part of your master play.
They win. I win.
Yeah, they win. Yeah, there you go. You root against them to lose, and now you get to sell some guys that you guys all want to sell.
Sell. You can't sell people you DFA that no one wants.
Well, I just don't want them to. Don't sell Snell. Don't sell Snell. Don't sell Snell.
Why do you say that?
Don't sell Snell. Come on, boys, about to go on a run.
How do you know?
I just know. Second half pitcher, baby. Lifetime numbers.
It was
very encouraging.
It was an encouraging start. It was actually by far and away the best start he's had all year. The whole pitch count thing is just odd to me. I wanted more context on what exactly his limits are. Was it based off of breaking balls? Like he only threw 73 pitches.
73. They said his limit was 75.
I want to be honest here. I would have taken him out 2 in that game because he needs to build on a good start to be able to because I would like to see this last start, I believe, is Sunday, right before the All-Star break. It would be nice for him to have 2 good starts in a row, heading into a long break. He's feeling good about himself, and then come back in the second half and be ready to roll.
Yeah, no, he's going to be fine. But Logan Webb was dealing through 4 innings. I mean, he had no hit stuff. He had only given up a hit, and that's just the bottom fell out, man. What the hell happened? The 5th inning when Clement hits a 3-run homer, gives the Blue Jays a 3-2 lead. You're thinking, okay, all right, Logan, settle down a little bit. Giants getting a run back. They scratch a run across the board in the 6th inning to, take away the momentum from the Blue Jays. You tie the game up with a Conforto double. He's swinging the bat well. Bailey scores from first base. And that's the 6th inning starts, and it just all hell broke loose for Logan Webb, man. And he has by far one of his worst starts of the season. He is going to the All-Star game, but he falls to 7-7, 5 innings, a hit, 7 runs he gave up yesterday, 4 strikeouts. The 6th inning, man, it just all went bad for Logan, just out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And Logan Webb is win day, and he's got 7 losses on Logan Webb day. It's unfortunate. What's the total record? What's the overall record where Logan Webb pitches this season? Get that love before me.
I was going to say, I don't think it's win day when Logan. And I like Logan. I think Logan's by far their best pitcher. But, he just, I don't know. Like, he made a hell of a play on the play where he's falling down, tagging.
9-11 on Logan Webb day. Under 500.
That's not win day.
Just like the Giants.
It's a combination of things. I think he's been a victim of lack of run support in some games, but I also don't know, he has gotten touched up a few times,
By some
this
good
year.
Teams, yeah.
He pitches a lot of innings, and so there's some evening out when things like that happen. Yesterday was just an outlier. He went from looking unhittable to just he got rocked. I mean, let's just call it what it is.
Rocked.
And George Springer, did that guy see 4 pitches all yesterday? I mean, he swings at the first pitch every single time. That Blue Jays team is an interesting one. And Chris Bassett, I felt like they just let Chris Bassett off the hook. Now, they did get bases loaded with 2 outs. It's a 2-out situation. But, they just come through with the big hit there. I feel like it's an entirely different game.
No, you're right. By the way, next week our lineup is going to be jacked up. Monday, Willard and Dibbs from 6 to 10. 6 to 10, Willard and Dibbs. Get to go see our pals in the morning. Mia Shasky. We'll be on from 10 to 2. Shasky Guru from
1
2
week
to 6.
only, just
one
to make
week
sure.
Only, 1 week only. Well, unfortunately, 1 week only because going from waking up at 7 o'clock in the morning to waking back up at 4 in the morning, it's going to be a tough adjustment. Your chance to win an autographed Steph Klay Thompson jersey as well. A Warrior Klay Thompson jersey. You see it in the photo the Guru had during the commercial break. Don't you worry. It's just for a week. And it's all brought to you by Jack's Restaurant. And so Logan Webb gets touched up. They let Bassett off the hook here, right, with the bases loaded, 2 outs. You don't get anything going there. Chapman, not a good at-bat there. Now, today, sets up a rubber match between the Blue Jays and the Giants. And I think this is a huge game. It is by far, to me, the biggest start of the season for Jordan Hicks. How does he go into the All-Star break? Does he go into the All-Star break 5-5, giving the Giants a chance to win a baseball game? Or does he get touched up without going to the 5th inning? And you're facing Kevin Gausman on the other side, the former Giant, who's 6-8 on the season with a 4.64 ERA. So I think this is the biggest start of the season for Jordan Hicks. It's not even close. The biggest start going into the break.
Right. No,
I mean, he's scuffling here, Shasky.
You might be right.
He's scuffling here. We're having conversations about him going to the bullpen, baby.
Well, the last 2 starts, before the game's even started, he is just soaked with sweat. I'm watching him with the towel and I'm going, dude, this guy's pregame routine, whatever it is, like I know it's warm in some of these locations that they were pitching on the road, but I mean, the guy looked like he'd been sitting in the sauna for an hour and a half before the game even started. I almost feel like I will know what type of stuff he's got on that given day based off literally what he looks like before the game even starts. He was soaking through his jersey the last 2 times. He looked exhausted before the game even started. So I'm very interested to see him today.
I think it's his biggest start. He's got to give the Giants at least 5 innings. He's got to get deep into this. I would love 6. I'm getting greedy here because it seems like nobody's giving the Giants 6 these days outside of Logan Webb, and he only went 5 yesterday. But damn, he's got to get some confidence going before the break, Shasky. I mean, it's a monster game for the Giants.
They really did go on a nice little run right here in the last couple of weeks, and there's still multiple games under 500.
3 games under 500,
and they don't feel like a team that can go on a sustained run, right? If we're being honest with ourselves, like right now, hey, Bonte, it's a must-win game against, let's just say, the Dodgers. Hypothetically, the Dodgers. Who are you playing at shortstop?
Wisely or Fitzgerald?
Yeah, how many teams?
But aren't you kind of happy, though? I know where you're going here, but aren't you kind of happy that Farhan is finally committed to the youth movement? Slater, gone. Nick Ahmed, gone.
Sure.
Mike Yastrzemski, you're on high alert, buddy. You could be gone in a couple weeks. You know what I'm saying? Because Conforto's swinging the bat well.
Yeah.
I mean, we've gone full youth movement now. Matos, Ramos, Wisely, Fitzgerald, Patrick Bailey. And it's a question I asked earlier this season. Do you want to see the youngsters, even if it may cost you some games down the line here? I think a lot of people want to see the youngsters, want to see what we have. I think we're in a similar situation with the Golden State Warriors, which we can touch on a little bit later. But aren't you kind of happy they've kind of committed to the youth?
Well, I mean, but you haven't. Like, yes.
You got 5 guys here, youngsters.
Yeah, okay, but they're not playing every single day. Like, on any given day, I know it's going to be Yaz and right, and it's going to be Conforto and left, right? And I know that on any given day, you're going to have, even though I like Lamont Wade, but you're going to have Lamont Wade or Wilmer, especially now that Wilmer's back, or Flo, as Blake Snell was calling him, at first base. Love what Bailey's done, but the bat's cooled off. And you can see this is a guy who's caught a lot of innings. Yeah. We're at the end of the first half, or it's a little past the first half. He looks a little tired. Like, I'm not mad at him. Like, catchers wear down. Like, the game is very difficult there. It's nice to see Estrada have better at bats coming back from the IL, but I'm kind of iffy on Estrada right now. I had heard rumors that he could be on the trade block here, and so Brett Wisely, I feel like they've squeezed the lemon on him defensively at shortstop. I don't know if that's sustainable, although he's been very, very serviceable both defensively and then offensively. He's been incredible. I don't love Fitzgerald at short. That's me, and that's why I keep coming back to the great teams, or at least the playoff teams. You're strong up the middle. Now, I love Ramos in center right now. He's played really good defensively. I love Patrick Bailey behind the dish. Shortstops, we have to admit, it's a question. It's a question. And when you don't know who you're penciling in at shortstop every day, I think it does make things difficult for your starting pitcher and just the game in general.
All right, here we go. We're going to pick this up on the other side. We'll get to the Golden State Warriors. We got the receiver talk. We've got a lot. 888-957-9570. I got a question for everybody. We didn't even kick this around yesterday. I think Spinodi, you brought this up on the show call the other day, and I was thinking about it this morning. 888-957-9570. We now see the receiver documentary on Netflix. We saw Hard Knocks.
Oh, my God.
The Front Office, which I really, really love.
I can't wait to talk
There's
about it.
any team in Bay Area sports history that they would do a reality show on, what team would that be? Would it be, say, the 2011 Niners? Would it be the 2017 Golden State Warriors? Would it be the 2010 Giants? Would it be the Oakland A's of the 70s? What team in the Bay Area would you love to see a reality series on? 888-957-9570. We'll do that. We got some great answers here. I know we're going to get it from YouTube and the Xfinity Mobile text line. That's all coming up, brought to you by Fremont Bake, celebrating 60 years of full-service baking with no compromises.
This Monday, our live
What up? This is Big Pun from South City. You are now listening to the morning motherfucking roast with my boys Bonte and Shasky on 95.7 The Game.
You know, Big Pud, he's out in Lake Tahoe right now taking a walk. Takes a walk every morning to clear his mind for work, whether he's on vacation. What do you say? He gets the endorphins rolling, right? Gets him rolling. Clears his head.
On that, though.
I like Big Pud. He's got the Pebble Beach hat on. He's got the tattoo showing across his chest. Like that. Like that a lot. Shout out to Big Pun. Shout out to everybody out there listening right now. This segment is sponsored by Go to State Lumber, serving the Bay Area for 3 generations. When you succeed, we succeed. Visit GoToStateLumber.com. Dave Fleming will join us at 8:30. I think it's by far and away the biggest start of the season for Jordan Hicks. He's got to win today. You just got to win, Jordan Hicks. You got to pitch well. Cannot. This lineup to sneeze at, man, with Vlad Jr., Bichette, and they really haven't done much. You know what I'm saying? It's been this guy, Clement, playing third base, hitting 3-run jacks. Damn.
I know. And it feels like they've, you get a chance to get a look at Kevin Gausman, who it felt like they were trying to release and trade or whatever, unload at some point. Ex-Giant, the guy that, to me, got away. I think he fits our ballpark much better than a lot of other pitchers out there with that splitter. So I'm excited
Bassett.
for today's game.
Yeah. Kevin Gausman, Chris Bassett pitched yesterday, former A. So the Giants lose. They got to win the rubber match and win this series and get rolling here before they take on the Twinkies. The receiver doc was released yesterday, and we've been watching Hard Knocks with the New York Giants, the front office, and behind the scenes with the scouts and the GM, and it's next level. I really, really, really like it. The way they go about free agency, how they're pulling up player profiles, what they do well, what they don't do well, do they fit, how do they get a quarterback to protect Daniel Jones, they got to protect themselves, all that stuff. But the receiver doc came out yesterday, and I watched the first episode, and it was mostly Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, and Amon-Ra St. Brown. Some great personalities. I did start episode 2, and it was a little Devontae Adams and a little Justin Jefferson. And obviously, Randy Moss at the top of the top, telling Peyton Manning to step over. But if there's a documentary you want to watch on any Bay Area team in the history of Bay Area sports, what team would you want to see a doc on? Where would you want to go behind the scenes? Would it be the 49ers of 2019? Would it be last year's 49ers? Would it be Harbaugh's 49ers in 2014, 2011? Would it be the Joe Montana-led 49ers, whether it's 81 or 84, 88, 89, Steve Young? You got the Oakland A's in the 70s. You got the Bass Brothers, 89, Ricky Henderson and company, Tony La Russa. You got some great Giants teams. 888-957-9570 is the phone number. What doc would you like to see if you had a chance to see a documentary on any Bay Area sports team in the history of Bay Area sports?
So I want to kind of go by categories here, right? I do want to actually talk about the receiver doc. I want to give people time to watch it, right?
Yeah,
I don't want to just
that's why I'm not doing it.
Yeah, I don't want to break it down.
I'm not breaking it down.
Spectacular. It makes you honestly yearn for football, period. The Hard Knocks, there's some things I want to get into because I think it's an interesting dynamic watching the GM of the Giants go about doing his business and then thinking about what it would look like if it were John Lynch and kind of the song and dance you go through when it comes to money and salaries and dealing with agents and players and how you construct your team. Let me start back. What I think would be one of the more, as a Giants fan, and these are my Giants ones, I think it's really easy to say, oh, the 2010 Giants.
I said you could only pick one, not cheat.
No.
No.
No, I've narrowed it down. and I'll just let me pitch these. Let me pitch these, and you tell me what you think. If I gave you 1992 through 1993, the San Francisco Giants, 1 foot out the door, St. Petersburg, the end of the Roger Craig era, trading away Kevin Mitchell, going into securing new ownership, saying they want to stay here, signing Barry Bonds as a free agent, and ushering in Dusty Baker, winning 103 games and not making the playoffs. If I gave you that 18-month span, I think that would be a fascinating doc. You cannot talk about the current San Francisco Giants without going back to 92 through 93. I find that to be unbelievably fascinating.
So is that your choice for the Giants?
Or 2002. You start with the fight between Kent and Bonds in the dugout.
Jack Murphy Stadium.
and then you go all the way to the end, and obviously Dusty Baker handing the ball
to Russ Ortiz. Game ball.
Another one that I thought was interesting.
Rally monkey.
2007 Giants. The first time in
you got to pick one Giants team.
Stop.
This is the definition of taking all the opinions so you can have one that's right. No.
So 2007, the Freak shows up. It's his first ever camp. And Barry Bonds' final season, Bruce Bochy's first season, and he dubs him the franchise.
You get one team.
One of those three.
One team.
I don't know.
1 to 3.
So
one team.
Lubman.
So you're Fit City.
Lubman.
You're Fit City.
I am. I'm Steiny.
Oh my gosh.
Lubman.
One
of
team.
Those three that
in the Bay Area, not just one Giants team. One team.
Which one is the most fascinating?
You got to leave a lot on the board.
I'm an executive producer pitching my idea right now to you. You have to pick of the three.
So I have to pick the team that you want to see?
Which one did I lay out the best case for?
No, I see what you're getting at here. Honestly, like I like where you're going with that, with like the 2010 or the 02 and the 07 teams, but the way you pitched that 92 to 93, you sold that well. I would be kind of curious to see what that stretch of history is like for the Giants.
I agree.
Because it's not so much about the games, but there is a lot of interesting stuff that went on behind the scenes for that team. So I would be very curious.
So think about this. If you go 92, 93, right? You got the end of Roger Craig. You traded away Kevin Mitchell. All right. Will Clark has his impending free agency multiple years away, and he kind of knows it's coming down the pike. They got 1 foot out the door.
Robbie Thompson, was it Robbie Thompson's last game at Dodger Stadium?
Well,
93?
Robbie Thompson got extended.
Yeah, he got a shit.
Yeah, right. And so, and then like the whole 1 foot out the door, St. Petersburg jerseys. Like the Giants are, the ownership group doesn't know what they want to do. And then you got McGowan and Larry Bear in the wings, and they're trying to buy the team and keep them here. Then you got the whole Barry Bonds. He could go to the Yankees. He wants to come home. Bang, we bring in Dusty Baker. I don't know. I really think that is a fascinating thing. And then that is the reason there is a wild card. That team is one of the main reasons why the wild card exists in Major League Baseball. You can't tell the story about baseball in the last 30 years without talking about the wild card, Dusty Baker, and Barry Bonds.
There you go. That sounds like a good documentary to me. What about you, Lubman? What about you?
So we're keeping it just Bay Area focus right now?
Yeah, Bay Area focus.
Bay Area
one documentary.
Right
if you
now.
want to open up to the nation.
I got 9 or 1.
No. You get one doc. You get one doc. You took the Giants. You got one doc.
I'm not done.
No. You are done. You got the Giants.
I'm not
you get
done.
the street Giants docs. You're done.
You will not put words in my mouth.
Lubman.
I'm not a GM, even though I'd love to be one.
Exactly.
Got cut off by BPA right there.
These guys just took 7 minutes to tell us about 3 different Giants documentaries.
I'm trying to spit it out every time I talk. You were BPA talk, so
I want to see it. 2002 Miami Hurricane baseball.
Yeah, wow.
All right, so whatever is in your mouth right now, just get it out right now, and then I'll give mine.
Clip that.
Whatever is in your mouth right now, get it out.
Yeah.
Pause.
I have a big mouth sometimes.
Seriously.
That's like the girl on Stat Girl on It Is What It Is.
Give me the
That's
meat.
the creme de la creme right there. Big pause. What are we doing around here?
All right, the Bay Area team that I would like to see an in-depth behind-the-scene doc on. Honestly, let's go behind the scenes of the We Believe Warriors run. Starting from the trade for Steven Jackson, Al Harrington.
Completely disagree.
All the way up to...
It's just talking. Wow.
If you're going to go Warriors, I would much rather see the punch, the choke.
I'm sorry, I didn't realize this was a right or wrong answer.
It's Lubman's documentary.
You're wrong.
Oh, my God.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I love you.
Oh, my God, what a disaster.
This was a fun segment, and now it's
you
like...
want to see We Believe when we've already rehashed that
We
for 30
asked
years?
Lubman what doc he would
I
want.
want to see the
Lubman's doc.
choke.
It's not
I want to
you.
see a young
It's
Steinmetz.
Lubman.
I want to see Weber and Don
Lubman.
Nelson. I
It's
want
not
to see the
Shasky.
Gugliotta.
You
I
agree.
kind of want to see a behind the scenes of Shasky now, because like
Oh, my God.
this is just nuts.
Oh, my God.
You don't want to see the Carlissimo?
This is
Sprewell?
Lubman's documentary, what he wanted to see in the Bay Area sports. That's his deal. If
That was the first good Warrior team of my lifetime, Shasky. You need to understand. I was in 8th grade at the time. My entire life was garbage basketball. The best basketball player I had ever seen in my lifetime as in a Warriors uniform was Muggsy Bogues up until that point.
That's not accurate. That's not accurate.
You're listening to 95.7.
Oh, wow, they did the legal for us?
The legal's trying to cut you
you're
off.
listening to 95.7 The Game, KTNC-FM and AC1 San Francisco. I think I talked for like 30 seconds a segment. And Odyssey Sports Station, it's live on the free Odyssey app.
So that was
Don't forget. I'm sorry. Guys, come on. Don't forget, all guests on 95.7 The Game appear on the River Islands guest line. Oh, is it the time for you to discover the islands? Maybe I want to discover it right now. Can I get out there to Lathrop right now, River Islands? Can somebody get me out there? All right. Continue, Lubman.
So that was the first good Warrior team of my lifetime. The first time in my time on this planet we call Earth where the Warriors were actually fun. That We Believe team really ignited the fan base here in the Bay Area. So yeah, I would like to see an in-depth behind-the-scenes look of that team. Bonte, I'm curious though, what Bay Area team would you like to see a doc on? Keep in mind, there is a right answer to this, so let's hope you get it.
You know what? We'll bend the rules. You can do one doc from each team. Fine. We'll do one doc from each team. Whatever team you want to do, you started off with the Warriors. You just started off with the Giants. I'll go 49ers, and I'll go 2014 49ers.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I want to know what went.
Oh, that's a good one?
Mute his mic.
I want to go
Lucky
behind
us.
I want to go behind the scenes. Just the 49ers. We're going to do one for each sport now. We're going to do one for each sport because obviously we can't stick to one. One for each team. Harbaugh here became a disaster when they went 8-8 and he was on the way out with Trip Baalke and company. That's what I want to see. That documentary right there. Am I wrong or am I right?
No, it's a good one.
All right.
Would you start with the Jed Harbaugh hug?
I would start
and then go backwards.
I would start with the rumors about Harbaugh getting traded to Cleveland.
Ooh, the toxic locker room.
The toxic
Jay
locker
Glazer
room.
report.
Let's get him out there. Let's
Alex
get him out of
Boone
there.
sitting out. Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you got Jimmy Ward getting cooked on Sunday Night Football in the first ever regular season games at Levi Stadium.
Oh my God.
So I'm going with that one.
So I was thinking about this, and I was thinking about maximum funny for some reason when it comes to the Niners. What if I said the 2021 Jimmy G year?
That would be interesting.
Because Debo was out of this world. You had the Trey Lance thing. You had Jimmy Garoppolo. Shanahan. He could be on the hot seat.
You know what? We'd make that documentary. Why do you
say that?
2021? Because we went off the field in third day of training camp saying Trey Lance is the next best thing since sliced bread.
Yeah.
We would be on that documentary. The hype would be real.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
I like 2014 Niners, though. That's a really good one. I like that a lot.
All right.
No, I like that a lot.
You're Niner documentary.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
2021?
I don't know. 2019 was so much fun just because it kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And
did you feel like that with 2011 though with Frank Gore Company, Patrick Willis, Harbaugh's first year? That was magical.
Equally unsurprised, or I'm surprised on equally with both of those teams. But I'm watching this Devontae Adams situation in Oakland, with the Vegas Raiders, and it's the underlying things Jimmy G was so bad, and all I keep thinking about is
medicine balls. Oh my God!
All I keep thinking about is that guy we all thought was elite. That guy?
Nobody thought Jimmy was elite.
Well, people did.
Nobody thought he was elite. I don't think anybody
argued with me a lot about it.
I didn't say he was elite. I never said that. I said he was a good quality quarterback.
Covered the team for a certain.
Don't put words in my damn mouth. I never said Jimmy G was elite. I thought he was solid. He was solid. He helped them win a lot of games.
All right.
Jimmy was solid.
Whatever. We're retconning a little.
So I'm not going to say that. I didn't say he was elite though.
All right. Well, I don't. Okay, elite might be strong, but we all thought he was really good. Watching that doc of the Raiders. Now, the Raiders have their own issues, don't get me wrong, but I'm dude, I want to see Shanahan behind the scenes talking about the game film with Jimmy G and the rest of the superstars, the playmakers. Because I'm watching Brock Purdy in this receiver doc, and clearly Debo and Kittle, these guys love him. I mean, they love him.
I said it on the Pivot Podcast. He was like, "Oh, I rock with Brock Purdy."
And then when I watch Jaden Daniels, on the whiteboard with the New York Giants head coach Brian Daboll, I'm saying to myself I think a lot of us who cover the game really don't understand it on an X's and O's level the way they do. Yep. And so, watching that guy at the whiteboard, I want to see more coaches talking to the players, breaking down the actual game film so we can get more glimpses. We're never going to understand it on the level that they do. But seeing that's wow, dude. It's such a mental game.
And you know what? I came away. I wasn't as impressed with Jalen Daniels. Now it's a meeting group, but I just didn't like. It was a little too quiet for me anyway, behind the scenes with the New York Jets. Anyway, that's a good doc. I see some good ones here. I'm going to read a couple.
Give them to me.
Here at the Xfinity Mobile text line. 925. Add the 89 Niners to that in the last year for Bill Walsh. Alongside the 99ers, missed a chance to three-peat. Last dance for Montana Lott, Craig generation. That's a good one. 510, a doc how half of Niner fans are now. All right, I'm not gonna finish that. That's just stupid. Learn how to spell, dude. 925, 1989 Bart series documentary.
That's a good one. We kind of got
series.
that on the ESPN. Yeah. It was only like an hour, but was it the day that the series stopped or something?
The Spreewell 30 for 30 is long overdue.
That's the one I've been talking about. The PJ Carlissimo with Steiny walking in late and seeing the whole issue. Like I want to see that.
What's your neck? What's up with that? I heard about that whole day. Apparently Spreewell, after choking PJ, walked by Al Addle's office. Al Addle's
the
the office destroyer. And Al was like, hey, Spree, how you going? Spree was like, oh, man, everything's good, man. How you doing? This is
like there was nothing wrong. See, give me that.
Yeah, I've heard so many behind-the-scenes stories.
Love the confidence.
It's unreal.
Dude, apparently him and Jerome Kersey almost got into a fight, and Spreewell said, like, no, true story. Spreewell was like, I'm going to go get my gat. Because Freewell was always packing some heat in his car. And so Rick Adelman was coach. Bully told me this. Rick Adelman looked at Bully and goes, you think he's serious?
I'm like, hell yeah, he's serious.
He goes, yeah, you might want to cancel practice. And Adelman's like, practice over, everybody, practice over.
That's kind of not funny.
It's not funny, but funny.
See, like, to me, I want to know about the Spreewell, Don Nelson, Spreewell, Carlissimo, and then Weber, Don Nelson. Like, I'm not poo-pooing the We Believe. I just feel like that has been plowed a lot because of the All in the Smoke.
All in the Smoke, yeah. Like, but they're going to come out with a movie.
I've seen a lot of Baron Davis talk.
Listen, we want to see the documentary. Which iteration of Dynasty do you want to see a doc on? The Kevin Durant years? 2 years ago when training camp started off with a bang.
We all want to see that.
It's not even close. It's 2022, 2023.
Exactly.
It's like really not even close.
Sure, because
the summer
David
of Clay, the summer of Poole, summer of Draymond. Yeah, we want to see
David
that.
West
Wiggins missing 3 months.
Well, remember David West said, you have no idea what we went through as a team. And then the report came out that they all had, or there was a meningitis breakout or something like that. When people think that it was something else. I don't know. Let's go to Kels in North Carolina. Kels, what's happening? You're on the roast.
What's going on, fellas?
What's up, Kels?
Not much. All right, so I need a 30 for 30 doc on the 49ers, first of all. The era between Singletary's last year and all the way up to when Kyle gets on board.
Wow.
I need to see what these arguments were about between Singletary and Troy Smith, Alex Smith, the Vernon Davis situation. Then, of course, we got to answer all the Kyle Williams questions. Then Cap taking over for Alex. The Super Bowl with the lights going. There's so much going on during that time period. And then, obviously, the beef between Cap and Alden Smith, all that stuff never got answered. And then all the arrests and stuff that happened, it'd be beautiful. There's so much to cover in that era. I think that would be the perfect 30 for 30. And then we'd end on a good note with, the future looking bright with Kyle, et cetera, et cetera.
Well,
that's a good one. That's a good one, Kels.
The Kyle, it's been wildly successful, but it's also been hit with a lot of turmoil.
Possibly.
I mean,
what type of turmoil?
Just the quarterback stuff. It's been fascinating.
Yeah, it has been
not?
It has been fascinating.
It's been fascinating. And look, this offseason
doing
with Brandon Ayuk. I mean, look, seeing Shanahan in the receiver doc, so calm and chill. And it is an interesting perspective. I kind of want more of him. And then they go to Purdy a lot sitting there. All I kept thinking watching it was like, wonder what Brandon Ayuk thinks about all this now. Not like in real time when it was being filmed. How is he feeling now? Because we know he really likes his name being in the news. He admitted that. And he's seen all these Niners, and he's not a part of it. I just wonder.
Well, to Kels's point, I think, and not just the Niners here, I would do a whole doc on that whole quarterback class of Trey Lance. I think that whole thing would be fascinating. How these guys thought of these players. Only Trevor Lawrence is the one that got paid out of that.
Yeah.
Only one remaining with his current team. And even then, but again, like he's shown flashes. He's won a playoff game. Like he's done something here.
Zach Wilson with Sean Payton in Denver. Is he starting out there? Is he
Well,
going
no,
to
they
start?
drafted Bo Nix.
Yeah, they got Bo Nix.
They're going to start Bo Nix?
Probably.
I mean,
oh
come
my
on.
God.
Bo Nix,
I
man.
mean,
He's
they're
like
not a
31.
contender. You might as well
No.
start him, right?
Yeah.
Like that's the
I
thing.
hear
I
that.
mean,
You know,
that whole division.
Got a family of 6, probably. Been in college so darn long.
There you go. He's not a doctor either. It's pretty crazy when you're in college for 6 years and not a doctor. But I'm just saying, you go back to that draft, like, do we really think there's part of me that still thinks that Kyle really wanted Mac Jones? I don't care what any of you say. I think he wanted Mac Jones.
But when I'm watching Hard Knocks with the New York Giants, I'm watching Dayball go through all of these different questions, and I'm sure every coach is different.
He wants to recall from the quarterback.
The way they were speed dating. Now, that COVID year, you couldn't even do those interviews, I believe. And so I just wonder when Kyle gets, let's say Purdy or whatever, in front of the whiteboard, I was told from people that, I don't know, that they know, that Kyle was in love with the way Trey Lance thought about the game. That doesn't mean that Purdy doesn't think at a higher level now since or whatever, but that was one of the things that they were really enamored with him, was that they thought he was really intelligent. And I'm watching how Dayball's going through these checklists, and I'm saying, dude, like, I know the average football fan knows that quarterbacking is very difficult. It is, like, so complex, depending on the terminology and all the play calls. And he even said it, like, what was it, McCarthy, JJ McCarthy? Yeah, Harbaugh likes the really long play calls. Yeah, no wonder. That's why we get delay of games every single time with Harbaugh.
This is a good one. 650 Xfinity mobile text line. Documentary on how Lacob bought the Warriors when we all wanted Larry Ellison's deep pockets. That's a good one right there. 30 for 30 on the 2016, 2018-ish Raiders versus 95-7 the game. Those Raiders teams were very interesting, and a lot was going on.
Pretty good.
Including Donald Pitt jumping out the car in the parking lot. Almost
Oh, my God.
Let's go 21 mil. Come on, 21 mil.
Oh, that's when I first came to 95-7.
The offensive line not blocking for Derek Carr.
the national anthem thing.
Sunday Night Football in Washington, D.C. That was the end of that
They
Raiders
got their
team.
asses kicked against Kirk Cousins.
Because the week before they blew out the New York Jets, and I remember during the football hour, Papa going, I didn't think this thing could come together so damn fast. I think they could win the whole damn thing. And I was like, and you hear me in the clip go, wow. Like, I don't know.
Marshawn had like a huge run in that game. And he was party dancing.
The good run with Jalen Richard.
Yeah.
That was the last good moment of Oakland Raiders football.
Yeah.
Oh, man. All right. 888-957-9570.
Week 1 win against the Broncos, and everyone chanted FAB Antonio Brown. That was fun.
Well, all right, there you go. 888-957-9570 is the phone number.
The shaped helmet.
If you had an opportunity to create a documentary on any Bay Area sports team you wanted, what team would that be? Pick a team from each sport if you want. Sharks calls? What about the Sharkies? What about the Sharkies with Macklin Celebrini?
That's going to be this year, baby.
888-957-9570 is the number. We'll roll on that. We'll break down some stuff. Team USA play yesterday. Giants lose. Got some great soccer yesterday. Butcher's back. Spinoni did a great job. 888-957-9570. San Jose Jazz fan. He's always on me. Bonte watched a lot of Iowa State football. Bye-bye.
This Monday, our lineup is going to be...
whatever is in your mouth right now, just get it out right now.
All right. Hey, check this out. This is San Leandro Mo, and you're listening to 95.7 The Game, the morning roast with Bonte and Shasta.
What is coming up on The Game, brought to you by Fremont Bank, celebrating 60 years of full-service bank with no compromises. Talk more about documentaries you would want to see. 888-957-9570. We won't break down the receiver doc because I don't want to spoil anything for anybody. I'll give it a week's grace. I know we're going to power through it as sports fans, but I want to give everybody time. I get it. You got jobs. You got to babysit. You got to take care of your kids. You got to do whatever you got to do. So I'm not going to spoil episode 1. But by the way, next week, I can't guarantee any spoilers from the morning roast because we won't be on it. Next week, our lineup is going to be jacked up. Willard and Dibs will be out from 6 to 10. Willard says he gets up every day at 4 in the morning anyway. Shouldn't be a big adjustment for him. But for us, we get to work from 10 to 2. And that means your boy gets to sleep in.
Lucky us.
4 o'clock, no alarm going off. 5 o'clock, no alarm going off. 6 o'clock, no alarm going off. I'm setting that baby at 7 a.m. 7 a.m. That's where my alarm clock's going off. We're working 10 to 2, Shasky. Then Friday Guru from 2 to 6. And you have a chance to win an autographed Klay Thompson jersey. Go to St. Warriors Klay Thompson jersey. And don't you worry, it's just for a week. Just for a week. You know, it's all brought to you by Jack's Restaurant.
You've been asking about these docs, and I find them to be fascinating because I love the behind the scenes of sports. I love all the access, and it's tough to tell how curated some of this stuff is.
Real quick, aren't you happy we get to work 10 to 2?
Well, yeah.
Have you ever work afternoons? Oh my gosh, that's my schedule. Get to wake up in the morning, ease into the day. It's not night. It's not dark. Get off at 2. Traffic's not hitting yet. 10 to 2. We may never go back.
Okay. So, I was thinking about it.
He seems excited.
Well, I mean, we'll see. I mean, let's do it for a couple of days, and then I'll feel it out, and we'll go from there.
This guy.
What? I haven't done it like you have, consistently. So I don't know. I can't speak on an experience I haven't had.
Oh, you've done afternoons with me before.
Yeah, but like a one-off here and there. So there's a routine to some of these shows.
Yeah.
Like
the routine in the morning sucks.
Yeah, it's not great. It's not great.
The routine would be much better next week. I promise you.
There are pluses and minuses to each shift, right? You get off early or whatever, and you have time to take naps and whatever. I was thinking about this one, and this might not be at the forefront of everyone's thought process. I would, and I don't know how real this would be. I don't know who would be willing to sign up for this, but if you would force them into it, I would love to see what's been happening with the Oakland A's behind the scenes for the last 3 or 4 years. To me, that is one of the most fascinating sports stories in the last 25, 30 years, because this is an active situation where it feels like they're self-sabotaging themselves. They're moving to Sacramento. They could be moving to Vegas. I don't know. Like, there's this whole thing. I don't know.
It's called Uprooted.
It's just,
by the way,
wild.
That stadium up there, what is it, Southern Health Park in Sacramento? They're going to put turf up there. And it's going to be, it was like 108 in Sacramento last week, 110. They're going to play games outdoors in Sacramento at night.
I'm not pretending that this is going to be equivalent to Sacramento, but we play a lot of different tournaments in baseball, and you'll play on turf or you'll play on all dirt infields. And they're both equally, they're very, very, very hot. But to your point about turf, it's like it bounces back up onto you, and it feels like you're on fire. It literally feels like you're on fire when you're in over 100-degree weather.
I don't know how they're going to do it next week.
And Rob Manfred's going to look like an idiot when one of his prized possessions, I don't know, when Aaron Judge comes over there, slides, gets hurt. Oh, that's going to be great for the product. Oh, Shohei Ohtani visiting. Oh, that's going to be great. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, I don't know what we're doing. By the way, 408 Xfinity Mobile Text Line, can we do a doc about how each of the hosts got their jobs at 95.7 The Game? That'd be kind of cool.
That'd be interesting.
That'd be kind of cool. Yeah. A little 30-minute spit-offs or hour spit-offs, depending on who's what. How Steiny got his job.
Talking to me.
How I got my job. You don't want to go behind it.
Whose origin story is your favorite?
Here at 95.7 The Game?
Yeah.
Mine.
Oh, no. I appreciate you being honest.
No, I don't know everybody's origin story, though. That's why I just said mine.
Yeah, no,
I don't know everybody's.
I think you do have a great story.
It's all right. It's all right.
No, I think
if I take the pig around back, and come back with bacon.
What?
I was saying
What happened to the pig?
Okay, well, now I need a doc on whatever that was.
What was that?
Curious, like, who has the most interesting origin story of all the hosts? It'd be kind of interesting to learn about.
Yeah. How this guy named Bonte Hill all of a sudden started working with Greg Pop out of nowhere.
Oh, hey there.
That really shook the airwaves.
Kingslayer, Bonte Hill.
I, Bonte Hill, will never lie to you ever again. I don't lie. I'm good at telling the truth. I want my money. I want my money now. See, I'm like liar, Jim Carrey. I can't tell a lie. If I tell a lie, then it's just not possible. Remember Liar?
It's a great funny movie.
Yeah,
great movie.
It's that and Me, Myself, and Irene. Is that what it was called?
Yeah, there you go.
Just like you rewatch them and they are hilarious.
Dude, he goes to the bathroom, just beats himself
my gosh.
up.
The grandmother was a quarter Italian or something. Oh my God.
They're lying in bed and I've had better. And she's like, what?
People said, I see a couple on YouTube. By the way, YouTube. Brought to you by First NorCal Credit Union, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. For a low-rate auto loan, apply online or just ask for First NorCal financing at the dealer. A lot of people want to see a documentary between me and Draymond Green.
It's always a fun game.
What would that doc be, 10 minutes? I mean, come on.
When do those commercials start getting recorded, Bonte? For next season?
Media Day.
Can't wait.
It's coming up. October. Early October.
Any anxiety?
Nah, I'm good to go.
Who are you most interested in seeing with the Warriors?
Anthony Melton.
Really?
We're slow-mo, a little bit of slow-mo. I'm going to talk to him about the Pac-12 tournament that he had. He was unbelievable. It was the first time I ever covered a college basketball tournament in Las Vegas. The Examiner sent me out there. I got dumped by a girl 2 months previously 2 months before that, right? So I was kind of down and out. The Examiner's like, yo, you're doing a hell of a job here. Just go to Vegas and enjoy the tournament. That's where I met the great Tony Jones, who covers the Utah Jazz, and we're sitting courtside. Big Dog City came out. I had the time of my life. And Jordan, my boy Kyle Anderson was balling next to Zach LaVine and Jordan Adams against Eric Gordon. He had a hell of a tournament. So I'm interested to talk to Slow-Mo. I'm interested to talk to Steph about his Olympic experience. I'm interested in talking to Draymond Green. I'm interested to see what the hell this team's going to look like next season. I am. I get interest. There's an interest level with every single player in this team. I can make a case for it.
Guy Santos?
Oh, yeah. Me and Guy, so I was doing this Waymo series with the Golden State Warriors. Listen, Guy Santos
I'm going to start calling you the Spider-Man because you're spinning a web here.
Dude, Guy Santos was in the Waymo with me. We were doing the Waymo thing, and we took him through Golden Gate Park, and he had no idea we had buffaloes in Golden Gate Park. He was blown away. He got out the car. It was like, well, I didn't know this existed. I didn't know this. See, he's from Brazil. So Guy Santos, very interesting guy. I like Guy Santos. Very good personality. You should get him on a roast.
Wow, dude.
Guy Santos, very interesting, man. Very good story. Very good story.
Well, if they bottom out, we'll have anyone we want from the team on the roast at some point.
Quentin Post on the roast.
I do like that.
The Morning Post.
The Morning Post.
How about, have you guys been listening to our guy, Kevin Dana?
Oh, he's been great.
Been amazing.
I met him last week. There you go, in person.
Oh.
Talk about that. You got to
it was great. I got to meet the great Saintly one. Yeah, Bonte Hill hooked it up. California Classic, Joe Shaska. We missed you there. Guru, Benny. It was a great time. Gary St. Jean, the great R.C. Davis.
Well, when Bronny was out,
well, we got to see him though. We were close. I almost said Bronny.
Were you taller than him?
I was wearing flip flops and he was only like an inch or two taller than me.
Yeah, Spinoni wore flip flops with no socks to a basketball game.
I did.
Did you?
Yeah,
such a SoCal move.
I know. Thank you. Like, it was just peak dad too. Like I wasn't trying to impress anyone there. Well, I didn't know I was going to be courtside, by the way. And then Bonte, we just got to meander away and say it was really cool. It was a cool experience for Benny.
Dr. Nara Pongia.
Yeah, Pongia was there. Yeah. I saw Pongia 3 days prior to that in Emeryville, hanging out at Bay Street too. Oh. Pongia, Mr. Worldwide, by the way.
Had met his son for the first time.
Pongia concerned by Steph playing in the Olympics, by the way. He did say that. He does not like that he's a little older playing in the Olympics. He's a little concerned about his workload hanging into the regular season.
Gotta stop being so concerned.
He's a doctor. That's what they're doing. Come on.
This guy could get hurt running, sprints in practice. This guy could strain a hammy running on a curl for a three-point shot.
When he broke his hand, it was the most random play.
Right.
The guy collapsed
Aaron
on
Baines.
Yeah, it was just such a random play. Remember when he hurt his tailbone? It was a random play. To your point, it can happen anytime.
Well, I will say a Warrior official after the case said, this may not be the worst thing in the world for us.
Which one?
It's Steph Curry breaking his hand that season.
Well, that, yeah.
Because they were like, we're basically not going anywhere. We get a high pick. We get Clay back, and We know how it worked out. Clay got hurt. You take Wiseman. Rest is history. Wiseman's now on his third team with the Indiana Pacers. So, what about a doc on the rise of De La Salle football?
Not bad.
Not bad at all. Need a doc on TV, Bonte, and radio, Bonte. That'd be an interesting documentary.
Did you guys ever see, sorry, on the De La Salle thing, did you ever see the When the Game Stands Tall movie that came out about 10 years ago?
I watched that on the plane.
No, I haven't.
I watched that on the plane. It's very interesting.
It was good. Like, I'm watching, because I read the book too, and it was just like, the movie wasn't really true to the book, but it was like true to kind of like what that football program kind of like stood for and represented. They did a good job on that one.
Yeah, they did. They did. A documentary on the morning roast. Oh, how it formed. By the way, shout out Kate Scott. If you guys don't know this, roasters, Kate Scott, one of the broadcasters for the new Madden game. You talk about making a great career move, leaving us in the dust, calling Sixers games. I have to play Madden, and our girl Kate Scott's going to be in the new Madden. She either got the greatest agent in the world, but damn, Kate, you talk about a great career decision. A great career decision. She made the best decision. Morning, girl, let me get the hell out of here. 2 years later, she's on the new Madden. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. Wow. Let's hear from Big Oliver, Saudi Guru, on Pod's aggression in Team USA. Let's talk some Team USA, Shasky. Cat got to talk. This is the first time you haven't talked in 30 seconds. I can't believe it.
Well, I'll tell you with Pods, man, it's going to be his shots. It's not going to be the passes because that guy's putting the rock up. Like in these scrimmages, he's getting his shots up, and he was playing really competitively against Steph at times, one-on-one heads up. I think Steph might have even said he's the most competitive guy he's ever seen, which is, quite the compliment coming from an all-time great. But it was just a very aggressive Pods throughout the scrimmages that we watched. Embiid, unfortunately hit Pods in the face and kind of knocked him out of a scrimmage for a little bit. So he's out there, trying to play like an MVP, trying to assert himself in the middle. That's a tough thing to sign up for during the summer. So give that guy some brownie points.
So you want to hear Pods? Listen to Pods.
Whatever court I step onto, whether it's this court or, Wednesday at the Cali Classic, I think, I belong. I can compete with anybody. And I think that's just the mindset you got to have as a, up-and-coming guy. Show the older guys that you can do it. But it's just, the confidence piece that everybody knows I have.
Brandon Podziemski.
There's a lot going on with Podziemski this summer. There's a lot. Again, I saw Anthony Slater quote about Melton being in the starting lineup. Yeah. Many people have suggested it's Podziemski, that the Warriors have basically said that to Klay Thompson. I don't know what they told him. I'm not really sure. Are we selling Podziemski short? Because it seems like everybody's really high on Podziemski, and maybe I'm just a little more reluctant to see what everyone else sees or to say out loud. I think he's a really good player. I don't know exactly what position he is. Now, Steph didn't really have a position. Steph's an outlier, so let's throw him to the side, and comparing anyone to Steph, it's not fair. But, I see him as a backup point guard, at least currently. Maybe he could be a starting point guard. There are a lot of dynamic starting point guards in the NBA right now. The defensive side of the ball, I'd like to see what it looks like next year. The shot, I'd like to see what it looks like next year. Is he more of a catch and shoot guy? Can he be better off the dribble as a shooter? We know he can set teammates up. Can he finish a little? He had that little runner that he liked, the little floater. It does feel like the summer of Pods, and I don't know what to make of it.
He's a combo guard, right? He's going to get the offense in the right spot. He's going to keep the ball moving. Keep the ball moving. What he's got to do, I think the improvement for him, and I think he knows this. He went 4-13 last night in the Cali Classic. I'm not going to go crazy over that. 4-13 in the Cali Classic, and he was 1 of 6 from the three-point line. But if he wants to take that leap, because he's going to do a little bit of everything, right? 10, 5, and 5. He's going to rebound well for his position. He's going to be in the right spot, take care of the basketball. We get it. He had the best plus-minus. For a lot of plus-minus geeks, that means a lot. The best plus-minus on the team. Doesn't mean he's the best player on the team, but it is indicative of when he's on the floor, more good things happen than bad things. The next step for him, he's got to hit jump shots outside. And he knows that. I think he knows that. And he's got to be a better scorer. Hell, he even talked about it.
Just exploring different areas where I can score. A lot of shots that I passed up last year that'll be going up this year. But I think it's something the team needs. And for me to get where I want to go to, both from a team's perspective and an individual perspective, I think scoring is, you need to take that jump. All good players can score the ball at all three levels. So for me, just, finding different ways to score. I think in camp, I was a little bit passive just because we have so much talent around us, and I think it's just natural for me. But I think, just with our team, the perspective from the Warriors, I think just being a little bit more aggressive.
Then he touched on starting versus coming off the bench. That's always a big deal with the fans, and I always think it's finishing the game. If we learned anything on last year's Warriors, it was finishing, not starting. But again, we're all worried about who starts in the first 5 minutes of the game. Well, here's what Pod said about that.
I definitely feel more comfortable on the ball, and I know Steph feels comfortable off the ball. So if we end up starting together, which is a possibility, that'd be cool. But for me, it's just playing. I mean, it doesn't matter if I start, come off the bench. I just want to be out there when the game's on the line. So, it's definitely a possibility, but I definitely got to earn it. It just doesn't come easy. We have a lot of veteran guys now that we picked up. So for me, just going in there every day, showing Steve and the staff that I deserve it and I earn it, and just kind of go from there.
So, Pod's acknowledging that, hey, I need to be a better scorer. I've got to take shots. I've got to hit shots. He's got to hit shots. I think he's a baller. I think he does all the little things for you. But his next step, as we talk about Kuminga and Moody and TJD and this youth movement and what the Warriors may do, if Pods is on this roster, there's no doubt the leap I want to see from him is becoming more of a natural scorer, more of a natural jump shot shooter, more of a natural three-point shooter. He's got to get that shot cleaned up, and that's the next evolution for his game, in my opinion. And he said it right there Monday afternoon in Las Vegas.
So I'm just looking at, he plays the guard position, and I'm not sure if he's shooting guard, point guard, combo guard. I'm not sure how to define him.
He likes the ball in his head, so the point guard.
Okay. So I just want to start writing off some names here, okay? And some of these guys aren't true point guards, but the ball's in their hands a lot for their team in terms of the offensive facilitating. I'm not going to put SGA as a point guard. To me, he's a shooting guard, but I could see where people would think he is. I think Jalen's more their point guard.
SGA has the ball in his hands a lot.
I know, but would you classify him as a point guard?
I would say he's a combo guard. He's a guard.
So am I putting him in this bucket?
Because he could play point and two guard.
So if I put him in, then
like Dwayne Wade. Like I think about Dwayne Wade. He could play point if you want, but he's a two guard. But he could play point and initiate offense if you wanted to.
Okay. So then do you put a Cade Cunningham in that same category?
He's a guard. He's a guy who can initiate offense, going to have the ball in his hands.
All right. So I'll put him over. That's fine. So we got SGA, Luka, Cade Cunningham, Derek White. I consider to be more of a point guard. Would you agree?
Combo guard.
I think Pods and Derek White are actually very similar. I think Derek White's a little longer. I think he's a better defender.
Well, just think about that offense, though. Who has the ball in their hands all the time? It's either Tatum, Brown, Jrue Holiday.
It feels very different than a Warrior offense because it's more ISO heavy. So okay. Well, I guess where I'm going at with this, are we just selling the guy short? Can he be one of these upper echelon type of players? Because I look at someone like Scoot Henderson in Portland.
You're going to the top here. You're talking about SGA. You're talking about all NBA players. I don't need Pods to make that leap to all NBA coming from rookie team in the second year. I seen him get better. Get better. And how do you get better? Improve your jumper. Improve your ball handling. Improve your defense, the way you move defensively, and then become a winning player. I need you to become a winning player first before we start talking about, hey, could Podziemski be an all-NBA player? Well, that's really hard. There's only 15 spots in the league.
I didn't mean all-NBA. Oh, yeah, I'm just looking around the league, and I'm saying to myself, part of what makes, these guys, when you say Luka, I'm top 5 player in the league.
Exactly.
That's why I brought up a Scoot Henderson. This is a lower tier guy. I don't know really what to make of Scoot Henderson.
Well, natural point. He's rookie. He's got to work on his shot. He's got to work on his clock. He's got to work on his shot.
Who do you like better right now? You like Pods or you like Scoot?
Well, Scoot just played 1 year. Scoot's going to be a good player. Scoot's going to be a really good player. There's some things you just can't teach. That speed, that strength, that physicality that he plays with. And look, they're a rebuilding team, but he's got something to work with there. Pods fits this team right now with all the motion offense and the ball movement. Remember, the Warriors run a different system. So, look, I just need Pods to be better. He's got to make a leap for the team. And he had when I say better, it's not like he had a terrible season a season ago. He made all rookie first team.
But that's what I'm saying.
You know what I'm saying?
He's playing on the USA,
select team. He's working out. He's getting work or whatnot. So, look, for Pods, it's just building off of last season, improving your jump shot, getting better as a scorer, not getting lost when you get too deep in the paint, and then you're looking around trying to pass it around. I heard him talking about his hook shot, working on his hook shot or whatnot. I would rather him not shoot the hook shot, but it is what it is. Just be better. Be patient with them, but let them become better. Remember, numero uno on this team is Steph Curry, all right? Who your second best player is, who knows? But Pods, can you be a winning player? And in today's NBA, where we're going positionalist basketball, like there's no real 3, 4s, 2s, 1s. It's combinations. Can you be a two-way player? Can you be a two-way player? That's the NBA now. There's no now like Steph Curry's a point guard, shooting guard. He's a hell of a player. You know what I'm saying? We could argue too. We're blue in the face. There's so many combo guards in the game where different guys can handle the ball and bring the ball up the floor and initiate offense. Pods is one of those guys who can initiate offense, but also just kind of direct the offense from not even having the basketball like Chris Paul did last season. So let's not get caught up in whether or not he's a true point guard, a true two guard, a combo guard, or whatnot. He's a baller. And the guy can play on winning teams, Brendan Pajitsky. I saw him make a lot of winning plays last season. But that next improvement for him, if the Warriors want to get to where they want to get to, he's got to improve that jumper. That's it for me. That's number one. Improve that three-point shot because teams are going to sag off him and they're going to say, beat us with the three.
I just think he's more polarizing than we want to admit because I think that the range of what he could be is all over the place. Some people think that he could. I mean, I see some people saying he can morph into some version of like, oh, he could be a Jalen Brunson. Like to get to where Jalen Brunson is, where he's controlling that entire team, that took a long time.
Jeez, who's saying that? Jalen Brunson?
Well, but I think at one point, Jalen Brunson was more of a sixth man than he was a starter, and then we didn't know he could take over an entire team. But he's also significantly older and more seasoned than where Pajemski's at. I'm just saying, like it's all over the map. Is he a backup? Is he a starter? I mean, we don't even know right now. Like we've talked a lot about Kuminga. I just think that there's a whole Pajemski question. Like we all like him.
Yeah.
I just don't know if I ever see him being the second or third best player on this team, and they're a top 4, top 5 team. But that's also not fair because he's only 20.
He's in his second year. If he's your second best player right now on this team, then you may struggle a lot. You may struggle a bit. But can he be a winning player? Does he fit in? I think he fits in. Now, Moody, I saw Moody working out yesterday, and he's been the forgotten guy in this entire equation. As we talk Pajemski and Kuminga, where does Moses Moody land? Where does Moses Moody stand? Now, Anthony Slater, as you mentioned yesterday, he joined us right here on the Morning Roast, our 95.7 The Game Insider, and to discuss that, hey, DeAnthony Melton may start. He may be the starting five, and everybody went crazy because everybody goes crazy over starting five lineups, even though they may play together for 9 minutes in a game. You know what I mean? But where does Moses Moody land? Where's his expectations? Have we given up on him as a fan base? Where we at with Moses Moody, Shasky?
I don't know if I've given up on him. It just feels like the organization has made him more of an afterthought than a forefront player. And I think that I'm going off of like what they've said and then the playing time and reading between the tea leaves. It feels like to me he's got to go out and absolutely dominate and earn a spot on this team because like they're guard heavy. And if you just ask me right now, is Steve Kerr going to look down that bench and is he going to go GP2 or Moses Moody? I think he's going GP2 over Moses Moody.
Wow.
Like, just look, like, I know how this works. Like, you have a plan of who you want to go to, but then the game starts happening and and he looks down that bench and I'm just thinking, like, from Kerr's perspective, I'm not what I would do, but what he's doing, I'm just looking and he's like, yeah, I trust GP2 more. He's going to bring more to the table here.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I agree with that.
Well, whether it's GP2 Moody, the trade talks are still circulating. It's cooled down on marketing, but the Warriors are remaining patient. Steve Kerr did join Willard Dibbs yesterday. He joined Willard Dibbs yesterday, and he was discussing, the trades, and they asked him about the trades. Where here is what Steve Kerr had to say about the trade talks.
There's very few players in the league who are not talked about in trade discussions. Steph Curry is not being discussed in trade talks. Everybody else is, if you went down the list of NBA teams, the Lakers probably not talking to anybody about LeBron. Everybody's got maybe one or two guys who they're off the table. So the vast majority of the NBA, the players are constantly, going to be discussed in trade talks because everyone's trying to do the same thing, which is improve their team.
So improving the team, right? Improving the team. Go ahead.
Well, yeah, my big takeaway was, and no, he didn't bring up Anthony Davis when talking about the Lakers, the LeBrons, excuse me. But when he referenced everybody's on the table, he didn't bring up Draymond Green.
Didn't bring him up. What does that mean?
Well, I find it hard to believe that they are shopping Draymond
No,
Green.
he's just basically saying that, look, everybody's going to be discussing trade talks except the big dogs.
No, except
the big dogs.
Except Steph is what he said. So
yeah, so there's a few players who are not in this league going to be in trade talks.
I was going to say, like, it just, that feels like a very big shift from big three is going nowhere and we are fighting for them behind the scenes at every single turn, and only Steph.
Yeah.
For him to acknowledge that out loud, he's very specific with his wording, and I found that interesting.
Well, it is true. I mean, last year the Warriors, they were looking to improve at the deadline. They were looking to improve, and all options were on the table. All options.
Would that be shocking? A Draymond trade?
No, it wouldn't be. I don't think it would be. I mean, the shock value of a trade would be like, wow,
that's
whoa,
true. That's true.
whoa.
Yeah.
But would I be shocked if the Warriors said in one day, hey, Draymond, we're shopping you?
I would be shocked the team on the receiving end would be taking him.
The money. That's
true.
And the player, he has a player option at the end of that deal. So how attractive is that for a team? Do they want him to opt out? Obviously, they probably do. But the starting job, Steve Kerr acknowledged this as well.
So I'm excited about having all these young guys and new additions who are, when you're talking about JK and Moses, Brandon, Trace, now the 3 new players, that's 7 really talented players, really good players. And, other than Steph and Draymond, I don't know that anybody has a position set yet. So it's going to be an exciting camp. Competition's great for everybody. And we have a new set of players, brand new, really, and with the 3 new guys. And if you look at it over the last couple of years, our roster is dramatically different than it's been for the bulk of my 10 years here. So a lot to learn about these guys, a lot to experiment with. And as I said, jobs available. So it's exciting.
Jobs are available in training camp, folks. So you heard that from the head coach right here on 95.7 The Game with Willard and Dibbs. Steve Kerr. 3 open starting jobs available. Nobody's submitted at the 5 spot or next to Draymond Green. Nobody's 3 open spots. So that means Andrew Wiggins is not guaranteed a starting spot. It means Jonathan Kuminga is not guaranteed a starting spot. It means Pods, Moody, D'Anthony Melton, Buddy Hield, Colin, Steph and Dre. And the rest, let's play. Let's go. Let's go. I like that, actually. On this team, coming off a 10th place finish in the Western Conference, the best man win in training camp.
Well, I do believe that, when you're looking at the young players, Kuminga in particular, when he clearly responds to being a starter. I feel like that's been pretty well documented. When he starts, he just feels a little more comfortable, and I feel like he finds himself. Now, I know there are numbers in some directions saying that Steph Curry actually doesn't play as well with Kuminga in certain lineups when they start. I think they have to make a decision on Kuminga. Just this offseason, they need to say either we're going to start him and he's going to be a 30-minute guy at these 2 positions or 1 position or not. And I think if they go back and forth and they're oscillating between Wiggins and Kuminga, I think they're going to get frustrated with that. And I don't think you're going to get the best out of either guy. I like clearly defined roles. And the other thing I keep coming back to is like...
Would you like them defined during training camp or before training camp?
I think before would be. You
want to do it before training camp. You want them coming in training camp.
Something. I just think that it would be nice to have things carved out, and at least have an idea of where you want to go. Now things change. I think they had an idea that Looney was going to be a much bigger factor last year, and they had to pivot from that. Like Trace Jackson Davis and Draymond, I can't unsee how good they were defensively together. So I have a hard time thinking they're not going to go back down that rabbit hole. So then now I've got a 5 in Trace Jackson Davis. I've got a 4 in Draymond.
Right.
And then I come down to a 3 and a 2. Are you going to go Steph, Wiggins, Kuminga, or some combination of them at the wing? Or are you going to go Steph, Pods, Wiggins, Steph, Pod, Kuminga?
Well, it sounds like we're going to...
Steph, Melton, Kuminga, Steph, Melton, Wiggins.
We're going to find all this out in training camp, and I like that. I like that. I like the fact that we're going to see competition in training camp for these starting spots. Because during the season, when you don't have a lot of practice time, you can't start practicing against each other. In practice, you could see who's the elite of the elite, right, on your team. You can see, okay, this guy definitely wants a job. He deserves a lot more minutes. He's one of our best players on the court right now. I like this aspect of coming into training camp. Yo, bring the game. Bring your game. May the best man win his job. May the best man win minutes on this basketball team. So I do like it now. But on the flip side, there are practice players, and there's guys, there's practice players and there's game players, right? Some guys play better in the game than they do in practice. That is a thing. So you got to be careful with that.
But what if you, and this is the thing, I think it's a delicate tightrope here with Andrew Wiggins. You head into the year, he stays on the team after the whole offseason that he had, after the last 2 seasons essentially that he's had. And let's say he doesn't end up in that starting lineup. And now, he's a little disengaged. And we know that he can have a tough time finding his own rhythm within any game, even when he starts. And now you got a guy with multiple years left on his contract, making $24 million, coming off the bench. He's almost more untradeable if you're not playing him. I feel like I just think this Andrew Wiggins thing needs to be settled, and they need to make a decision on whether he's here or he's not. And then is it Kuminga or him, or are they going to play alongside each other? I think for everyone's sake, they need to figure that out.
Well, they're going to figure it out in training camp. They're going to figure it out in training camp. What if Wiggins comes back and looks like that 18-point per game scorer from a couple seasons ago?
I'd be surprised.
And he's playing at the point of attack defensively, and he's defended people left and right. That's the one thing here, too, with this team being small. You're small on the backcourt with GP2, Steph, Pods, and Anthony Melton. You need somebody who's going to pick up full court or pick up in the half court and say, I'm going to shut the water off, and I'm going to defend a guy, whether it's Luka, whether it's Jamal Murray, or some of these elite guards we see in the Western Conference. Before we just give up on Andrew Wiggins, and I get it. I get why people are down on him. But damn, his defense individually is still pretty good. Still pretty damn good. And if you lose him, how are you going to look defensively? I don't know here, but Steve Kerr did touch on Kuminga's offseason with Willard and Dibs. Here's what Kerr had to say.
With JK, we love the strides he's taken. He's got room to grow, which is exciting. We're working with him. He's been great. He's having a good summer. And I'm excited about coaching him next year and seeing how much better he can get.
So short answer there with Kuminga. He's getting better and better in the offseason. He's making leaps. What does he need to get better at? What does Kuminga need to get better at? And we can open up the phone lines here. 888-957-9570.
I think at times it's feel for, and everyone's going to point to offense. I don't think to me, it's feel on the defensive end when you're playing off ball, feel on what the opponent is trying to do, not to get too up in him when he's not, I'm too deep, 30 feet away from the hoop. When that guy's not a shooter, he's not a threat that far away, and getting those ticky-tacky fouls that get the Warriors closer to the bonus and get frustrated. Those are the frustrating fouls that I see Kerr's body language tell me he doesn't like, and I do also believe that when he plays so up on someone, then it also is a double-edged sword because he's not in a position to rebound, and then we're like, hey, you're not rebounding. Well, it's like, all right, you want him to take on that assignment at the top of the key, but then you also want to crush him because he can't get back in time to get a rebound. And this goes back to clearly defined roles. I want to know from Steve Kerr, in a perfect world, and this is what I want him to answer, and I'm afraid that he's never really come out and said it. What exactly is the role that you're carving out for Jonathan Kuminga that you want him to achieve?
Right.
Specifically, what are the 3 or 4 things on either end of the floor you're looking for? Because I don't know. I feel like it's all over. Sometimes they want him to rebound. Sometimes they don't want him to shoot. They want him to be an extra passer. And I think that they need clarity on that. And I kind of blame Steve on that one. That's his job as the coach, is to tell him, look, hey, Jonathan, you can't tell him, hey, go guard the best perimeter offensive player, but I also need you to rebound.
Yeah.
Well, that's tough.
Yeah.
That's really tough.
That is tough. Especially with all the three-point shots that are going up in the NBA. It's a lot more longer rebounds. It's not traditional, right? It's long rebounds coming back to the perimeter or whatnot. So that is a little difficult. Let's go to Vince in the city. He has an idea on what JK can work on here. Vince, what's happening?
Hey, what's up, guys? I think if JK is going to be on this team next season, I think he really needs to work on his ball handling. If he doesn't have an open lane, he's not getting to the rim. He can't really create a jump shot that I've seen. He has that little back down and spin move fadeaway jump shot that he takes. But I don't know. And maybe it's just me, but like ever since playing basketball in AAU, you go after the center on the opposing team to try to get that guy in foul trouble. If there's a guy to do it on the Warriors team, it should be JK with his athleticism. He's got the speed, he's got the bounce, but he doesn't have a way to get into the lane.
Let me, I don't mean to interrupt you. The centers on most teams are sagging off Draymond and staying in the paint, and they're able to be basically a center fielder. And so, like, I get what you're saying. He doesn't get those switches because teams defensively just sag off Draymond.
Yeah, but I also see a lot of times where those guys will sag off and then they'll continue sagging into the restricted circle. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm seeing it differently, but I just feel like in clutch situations, there's a point in time where you can really start going at the bigs or whoever's in the key to start getting to the foul line to take some free throws.
Well, I'm with you. I'm with you, Vince. I do think his ball handling needs a lot more improvement. There's no doubt, Vince. I'm kind of with you there with the ball handling. He's got to be better. There's a lot of times he gets picked. A lot of guys knows his moves. He loses the ball a lot. Ball handling is definitely important for JK, especially if he's going to be a very important member of this team in the motion offense. He's got to get better with, because I think he's an underrated passer. I think his passing is very underrated. He has nice touch around the basket, but I think ball handling could be one of those top things that he can improve on.
I mean, on this team, I thought he got into the lane better than just about everyone, and then got to free throw line.
Yeah, but how many times in the open court you see him lose the ball? Well, or if he's trying to go left to right or left to
he crashed into
right
guys.
To left.
No doubt, he crashed into guys.
I just think his ball handling needs work. His ball handling needs a lot of work.
I don't know. I on this team they've got a lot of ball handlers, and I think that his job is to attack. Yeah, and I want him being aggressive and attacking downhill.
But he's also
what are we expecting him to be?
But he's also one of your better one-on-one players. Mm-hmm. So if he's one of your better one-on-one players, and we clear it out for the guy, he's got to be able to make some moves here. And yeah, he can get to the rack. But teams are going to adjust to him. They know, okay, he's going to put his shoulder down, and he's going to go in with a full head of steam. And he's going to try to dunk on your head. I think he needs to get better with the ball handling on just making moves and being a little bit better. It's a little rough at times with his ball. But you know what? Everybody turns the ball over on his team. What are we, we're the worst turnover teams in the league. So I just think I'm kind of with Vince there. Ball handling, I would like to see him work on. Being a spot-up shooter from three, I think he's solid. I think he'd get better at that.
I thought the midi got better last year.
I think the midi is by far and away the 10-foot midi in the paint. I think he's had that for a couple years. He doesn't utilize it enough because of the way the offense is structured.
I just think that he does crash into people, but I also believe that when he's doing the crashing into people, it's against teams like Indiana where they're like, hey, we're going to just sag off of everyone. That game in particular sticks out in my head. They had the length, number one, and I think Toronto as well had a lot of length against him. And they said, hey, we are going to dare Draymond to shoot from the outside, and we're going to have all our bigs pack the paint because we know that Jonathan Kuminga's trying to go downhill.
Well, that's why I'm having a hard time right now. When people say this team on paper right now is better than last season, I do worry about the combinations and the spacing. We brought up, a lot of people were bringing up, and I was curious too. It's like, that's a good idea. Andrew Wiggins playing the 2-guard spot, right? Well, spacing-wise, it's not there for Steph and Curry. And we already saw the numbers dip post All-Star break for Steph. And that was with Klay Thompson at times spacing the floor. Now you don't have Klay Thompson. And all 10 eyes are going to be on Steph and Curry. So there will be a tremendous amount of spacing issues. And I don't think they're going to be playing Buddy Hield 30 minutes a game. People think that Buddy Hield's going to come here and start and just do this and that. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. So spacing-wise, I think it's imperative for Jonathan Kuminga to start hitting some outside shots. Hell, that's why Podziemski too. Yeah. Podziemski, we just watched the Celtics go 5 out and win an NBA championship. Spacing matters, folks. Spacing matters, especially for Steph and Curry. Let's continue the conversation. We got Dave Fleming, 8:30. Got a lot going on here on the Morning Roast. Here on a Thursday morning, we got Tim and Riley on hold. We'll get to him in just a second. First, the injury report.
Ow! Ow!
All right, the stunning news from yesterday. Kawhi Leonard will not be in Paris for Team USA for the 2024 Olympic Games. Kawhi was removed from the team as he continues to work his way back from a knee injury that caused him to miss the last 8 games of the regular season. Leonard said he's tried as hard as he could to be ready for the games, Before realizing that his knee was not in playing shape, he will instead focus on getting ready for the 2024-25 NBA season with the LA Clippers. All right, the injury report brought to you by Boxer Gears in Northern California's premier workers' compensation law firm, helping injured workers get their lives back for over 40 years. What's coming up on the game brought to you by Fremont Bank, celebrating 60 years of full-service banking with no compromises. More Warriors. Talk a little Giants with Fleming at 8:30. Receiver docket. Again, we're throwing a question out there. Tim in Raleigh, North Carolina, on old. But 888-957-9570. If there's any doc you create for any Bay Area sports team, what team would it be? Would it be the We Believe Warriors like London? Would it be the 2011 Niners? Would it be Spinotti's Raiders? What about when they moved from Oakland to L.A.? Kind of saw that already, but I'd like to see a little bit more there.
Bill Callahan, first year, going to the Super Bowl. Barrett Robbins, MIA.
Oh, that's interesting. Interesting. A lot of good suggestions out there. More coming up on the roast.
Do you have a child who doesn't listen or tunes you out? Is a teacher telling you that your child may need extra support?
Dang, Joe.
Oh, baby, oh, baby, oh, baby, oh, baby. One day away from a Friday. Is it a payday Friday? Is it a payday Friday? No, it's not. No. Damn. It's looking forward to something. Shout out to our friends at Flowing Water Plumbing and Drain. If you're going to call it to the roast, you better bring it. Because if you don't, you will be flushed. Brought to you by Flowing Water Plumbing and Drain. Roll on the Warriors right now. We'll pivot in a second. We got Dave Fleming at 8:30. Talk some Giants. I think today is the biggest start of the season for Jordan Hicks. It's not even close, in my opinion. He's got to go out there and he's got to shove, and get a series win. Because the Giants were playing well during this 13-game stretch, Shasky. They really were. By the way, Joe Shasky, the Butcher's back. He's back, everybody. Back. Spinoni did a great job filling in for 2 days. We got Lovin in the building. We got Tim in Raleigh, North Carolina, wants to talk about JK. You know he loves JK, Shasky. Let's go to Tim in Raleigh, North Carolina. What's up?
What's up, fellas? Hey, Shasky, I'm like you, man. I think we overthinking it. I really agree with you on just some defensive instincts. JK can improve on, but offensively, Bonte, I just think a recognition of when to go to the mid range. I think that 1-2 pull up left or right. I think he can average 20 in his sleep without the mid range. If he just knows when to come off the pick and pull up on the 15-footer, because he has a money mid-range.
Oh, the mid-range is money, Tim. It's money. I love the mid-range. But the handle, all I'm saying is if there's an improvement there, because I love JK. I think he showed me a lot during the 37-game stretch where he scored 20. It's just the ball handling. Yeah. Improve the ball handling a little bit. He's only 21.
I agree with you, Dante. I'm just saying, I think we can add that into it, but I think him, just a recognition. Listen, when MJ and Kobe, what did MJ have at the early parts? And I'm not comparing them, but just think about what I'm saying. When his mid-range was so dominant, it was because he was a top 5 athlete in the league. He could jump up over anybody and get his shot whenever he wanted it. JK is a top 3-4 athlete in the league. A lot of times it's just a 1-2 pull-up. They can't stop the mid-range. So you tie that in with the force that he goes to the rim with, getting to the free throw line. That's why I'm telling you, I believe if Wiggins is going to be on the team, Wiggins could go back to the 2, which was his natural position coming out of college. JK can easily go to the 3 if he utilizes the mid-range more, work about 2 to 4 3-pointers a game in his repertoire. And that's your starting lineup right there. You need those 2 dynamic 6'7", 6'8" wings. So that's just my thought if Wiggins is going to be on the team. I just think just JK recognizing when to go to that mid-range to tie it in with his drive to the basket, that's deadly, man.
Tim, stay on for a second, because I want to have this more like hypothetical conversation here. When you're on a team where you're the young guy and you just know that minutes are difficult and everybody's log jammed, there is a sense of anxiety on every shot you take, every possession up and down the floor. If you make a mistake, I could get yanked. And I look at, and I know Bonte and Goo were arguing about this just the other day about what would Kuminga look like on a Utah? Well, I know this. I just know that young players relax when they know they can go out and they're going to get 30 to 35 minutes and they can take some shots that maybe aren't the greatest, but they know that, like, all right, if I can make up for it in the long run, I'm going to stay on the floor. It's not that big of a deal. And if JK knew that he had that kind of leeway, a little bit of freeway to kind of make a few mistakes, I think everything would settle down, and I think his entire game would just fall into place.
Shasky, you hitting it right on the. Why do y'all think I love him so much? Because he's self-made. His mental makeup is off the charts. He has gotten what he's gotten because of his own belief in himself, not empowerment. You guys, listen to what y'all said earlier about Moody and all of this stuff. Moody is the nice guy. What happens to nice guys? You see what's going on. If Kuminga, think about it, guys. He was about to be benched against Portland before it was no other option.
He was out of the rotation, Tim. He was out of the rotation. And they were down 11. Down 11 in the third quarter, and he saved the day.
Yes. Yeah, he saved the day. And how many times has that happened, Bonte? This is all why his own mental toughness is off the charts, man. This hasn't been anything Steve Kerr has done.
You're spot on, Tim, and thanks for the call. And this is why, when it comes to open spots at training camp, I'd rather have open spots at training camp because may the best man win. I truly believe Kuminga will come out as one of the better men for this and get his 30 minutes a night. And when it comes to mental, say if he doesn't start right after rep and he comes into the season and he's not starting, I don't worry about Jonathan Kuminga's mentals. The guy's a dog. The guy knows the guy's good, so he's going to sit back and he's going to do his thing. JK is fine. This is why I don't want to do the lottery marketing deal with JK involved in it. I don't. I would rather move forward with Jonathan Kuminga and see what we have there. And if it doesn't work out this season, well, you know what? He's a restricted free agent after the year. And you can make a decision there. But JK has come along very, very well. Again, I think people slept on the way. Not only did he play last season, but 2 seasons ago when Andrew Wiggins disappeared for 2 months.
There were some times last year, and I don't want to turn this into Wiggins versus Kuminga, but there were times last year where I would watch Wiggins go to the hole so soft and just throw up junk.
Right.
Just junk. And I would be disgusted watching it. And I'm thinking to myself, if JK just, and look, again, Wiggins gets a little more leeway because he's got some earned excellence in the playoffs and because he has earned excellence of 10 years in the league. Like, I'm not saying they should be created equal. I'm just saying, off the basis of seeing some of the shots Wiggins took in the lane, they were just pathetic. Pathetic. If JK took one of those shots after Wiggins did 3 or 4 of those, he would have been on the bench.
Not last year. Not last year. He earned his way last year.
No, but I'm just saying in general. I'm just saying in general. And I think that the tolerance level for Jonathan Kuminga's mistakes are unfair.
No, they're unfair. They're unfair. But even 2 years ago, I think people slept on this 2 seasons ago. When Wiggins left for personal reasons for 2 months, JK came in and had some very, very productive games. And he helped stabilize the season. I think we slept on that. And we started to see the development of the mid-range jumper there. And I watched the game every day with Chris Woolen. Chris Woolen was recruiting him to St. John's. And then he was like, you know what? You're too good for St. John's. You're going to go to the G League anyway. You're fine. You're going to be a good player. So this development with JK, I think we slept on him 2 seasons ago. And then all of a sudden he gets benched against Sacramento. And I'm thinking to myself, damn, he got a quick hook against the Kings. Doesn't play against the Lakers. Comes out with the reports. He got 2 reports during like a 2-week span where he's like, dude, get me out of here. If I'm not going to be able to play, get me out of here. Well, he played last year. And Tim brought up that Portland game. So remember JK, when he went to Shams Charania or whoever went to Shams Charania reported that Steve Kerr lost his trust. He was on the bench during a 25-4 run.
It's pretty funny looking back on it. Yes,
it flipped the season.
No, I know.
But that Portland game is very important because against Portland when they were down 11 and he was out of the rotation. I remember him at the end of the bench just chilling, smiling, thinking, I'm out of the rotation? Really? And they needed somebody to save the day. Down 11 against Portland at home. He came in and he saved the day. If he didn't come in that game, it wouldn't have shocked me. It wouldn't have shocked me if a reporter came out after that game saying, get me out of here. But he came in, saved the day. They come back from 11. They win the game going away. JK has a great game, and it's all kumbaya. But then finally, he scores 18. He doesn't play the last 18 minutes of the game against Denver. Jokic hits the half-court little heave or whatever it was. And he's like, yeah, get me out of here. But from that moment on, again, we were talking about this a couple weeks ago. I saw enough. 37 games, the dude averaged 20. And the percentages were better, and he was getting better by the game. And in game, here's the thing with JK. Within the game, he may start off a little sluggish in the first quarter, but by the fourth quarter, you look up, he's got 18. He's got about 5 rebounds. He's getting to the hole. He's had a monster dunk. He gets better as the game goes along because he gets the timing and the feel of it. So I'm not down on JK at all. We're just talking about improvements, but JK is fine in my book.
Well,
I think he's progressing very well.
Yeah, I mean, and of course he's got improvements to go. I mean, Jason Richardson was a guy that, improved every single year. And one of the things was like when he came in, he literally couldn't dribble, and then he worked on that. Klay Thompson, I think, is a guy that's a great example of someone who his passing wasn't a strength at early on in his career. Dribbling wasn't a strength. Even layups weren't a strength. That's why they were called Clay-ups. But he obviously got better and better. And I wouldn't say it's a strength currently, but it's definitely not the deficiency that it was a couple of seasons ago. So you have to keep adding layers to it. Steph Curry, it's one of the greatest players we've all ever seen. I would even say to him, ball security is a major issue still to this day.
No doubt. No doubt.
And he's added so many elements. The one thing that Kuminga has that this team desperately doesn't have enough of is somebody with broad shoulders who can go into the lane, bounce off of a couple people, and still finish around the rim. They just don't have a lot of guys like that in a league where it feels like more and more teams have multiple dudes who can do that. As I watch Jaylen Brown just bully his way to the rim at times in the playoffs.
JK can do that with the best of them.
Yeah,
JK can play bully ball.
He can get to the free throw line on a team that doesn't get to the free throw line.
Exactly. And he shot 78% from the free throw line last season, which is better than Andrew Wiggins. And he's getting better and better at that. So JK's got a lot of work to do. But boy, on this team, he has the capability of being a special two-way player. Again, we went up to the California Classic, his first ever game, and Tim Roy right away is like, this guy reminds me of Ron Artest. We saw him try to dunk on 9 dudes in that game. I don't think he converted one of them, but you saw the confidence. And so, you know what's happening right now, too? Within the Warrior fan base, and maybe it's just our own little bubble, and I'm noticing it, and it's getting louder and louder by the day. Podziemski has a lot of confidence, and he's talking, and he's doing all these interviews, and you know, all of a sudden we're scoffing at a guy being confident in himself. Same thing was happening with Jonathan Kuminga, where he was like, dude, I'm ready to go. I should be playing. Kuminga's so confident within himself, he thought he should have been playing in the finals in 2022 against the Boston Celtics. He wasn't happy about sitting in. He was a rookie. He was a rookie, and he wasn't happy. Why is it now, it feels like in today's age, maybe Steph Curry ruined it for us because he has that quiet confidence and he's so humble. But it feels like we're picking on Podziemski. I'm not saying us. I'm saying as a fan, I'm reading a lot about it. I see it in the comments and I see it all over social media. We're scoffing at Podziemski and, to an extent, Kuminga for being confident young basketball players. Do you understand that you need confidence to play in this league at a high level? LeBron James has an ego. Well, you need one in pro sports. We're watching the receiver doc right now. George Kittle's confident, but you need that confidence. These guys are the best of the best. When did we start scoffing at guys being overconfident or confident with their own abilities? Why is that a bad thing? It's all of a sudden become a bad thing. It's really strange to me. Maybe I'm just on my soapbox or whatnot, but it's just really strange that Pods is made first team all rookie, and you hear reports like, oh, I mean, he's talking too much. Why is he so confident? JK, same thing. It's just very strange with me.
Well, you know what? I think it, and I don't know how much this plays into what you're saying.
It's a lot of hate for these youngsters, man. It's very strange.
Well, I think look, the reality is, and I said this during the summit, and I think it was misinterpreted by other people in the panel, whatever, and maybe I didn't eloquently have enough opportunity to lay it out there. But this is just my belief, okay, on as I get older and I start understanding things. Like, I think there are a lot of Warrior fans who are Steph fans first, Warrior fans second. And maybe they're just Steph fans. I don't know. You know, and I know basketball, maybe more than the other sports, creates that individualism. I know fantasy football has kind of created that in fantasy football to a degree where people only hyper focus about their player. You know, Derrick Henry, I'm a Derrick Henry fan or whatever. I'm a Warrior fan. Now, is Steph the greatest Warrior I've ever seen? Absolutely. But I feel like there are a segment of what I would call Steph fans where their allegiance to Steph has made them delusional in how they assess the rest of the roster. And it's not realistic as to the cycle of being a lifelong fan. When you're a lifelong fan, you understand there's ebbs and flows, right? And of course you want things to last forever. I get all this stuff. You want things to last for as long as they possibly can. But I feel like there's this delusion that there's a magical bullet trade that can instantly put the Warriors into the finals year after year after year after year. And any young player who could magically get you a more high-profile name that could be available down the road is the magic bullet that they want to keep shooting at. And I feel like we have absolutely crushed these young players in a lot of different sports. And it boggles my mind because I'm not saying that I'll trade away Steph if it means the Warriors will be better. I want Steph to be a Warrior for life, but I'm also not in the business of tearing everything down so that it doesn't matter what it looks like after Steph. And we're going to crush all these young players because they're not good enough in a timeline that matches up with Steph. These are really good young players that, you know what, I would have died for 15 years ago.
Well, you know what's funny?
Ago.
These young players, this is where I go back to Jordan Poole, is that, and Steph would say it, he would look at Jordan Poole and be like, you know, that's the key. This guy can extend our careers. These are the type of players that can extend your careers and take the load off of you.
100%.
You think Steph Curry wants to carry the load at 36 years old? He wants help. Well, JK can help you carry that load. Jordan Poole helped you carry that load on the way to a 4th championship. I don't care what anybody says. Jordan Poole for his first postseason, Jordan Poole had a very good postseason for his first one. I've seen a lot of superstars struggle with their first ever postseason. These are the type of young players who can extend careers. Don't you think Steiny always talks about it with Len Bias and Reggie Lewis, trying to extend Larry Bird and Kevin McHale and Robert Parrish? We're all looking for young talent to help extend careers of other players. And so the whole 2 timeline thing and all the blame with the youngsters here and there because the Steph stands want to win right now, that's what's going on right now. We're seeing it, and it's pretty funny.
It's a
Twitter,
war.
It's a war, but it's pretty funny on Twitter. There's this song. They're like, send the pics, send the pics, send the pics, send the pics. Do you understand there's another team who looks at our players and think that maybe they're just not as good as we think they are? Or, as a fan, we keep ripping these young players, but yet you want to put them in every deal for a superstar. That doesn't make sense to me.
But see, I would go actually in a different direction in that I don't understand for the life of me. Are there young players like, for example, Brock Purdy or Nick Bosa who come into a league, and again, that's football where they get 3 years of development in college at minimum, but they come into a league and there's no growing pains. Yeah, sometimes that happens, right? There are some players that just hit the ground. Justin Jefferson, wow, he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. Right. Oh my God, like we're watching one of the greatest players to ever live. The majority of players in, especially baseball and basketball, you don't get to reap the rewards of development without going through the pains of the growth. And I think that what ends up happening too many times is that we expect everybody, all we see now as a Warrior fan, wow, Anthony Edwards is amazing. Nobody was saying that 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago.
No, they were dogging him. But it's the microwave. So it's a microwave era, though.
But that's my problem.
It's a microwave era.
Like Lowry Marketing. Nobody talked about the 5 years or 6 years it took for him to get to where he is currently. We're only talking about the current player.
No, we're only talking about him because he's available, apparently.
Of course.
It's the same thing with Bradley Beal. Nobody was talking about Bradley Beal the first 6 years. Nobody cared about Bradley Beal. And all of a sudden, let's go get Bradley Beal. Let's go get Bradley Beal. Ask Phoenix how that's working out with Bradley Beal. I mean, you talk about overrating a guy and knowing damn well that these Steph stands haven't watched these guys. They're not watching League Pass firing up Lowry Marketing and Bradley Beal. I'm going to take some calls real quick before we get the
just one last thing. It just bugs me because it used to be we lived for the young player that would show promise and like we're ready for the long-term view. Like the long. Now it's like
talent.
If you don't show that you're immediately amazing right away, get out of here. And I'm like, wow.
Dumb. That's just dumb. Let's go to Jason in Philly. Jason, what's happening?
Hey, what's up, guys? I wanted to talk about what I thought about J.K. starting, but listening to you all, I wanted to just mention real quick, like the part of the issue that we're having within the Warriors fandom, I think, is that the 2 timeline thing. You can't develop 4 players and win at the same time. And when you have Steph on your team, the mandate is to contend. Whether it's putting the team as the favorites to win is different than making sure the team contends. And you don't see any other championship team contending with 4 players developing. And I think that's why we have such risk in the community, because you have a group of fans saying, let's go, Steph, and let's get Steph a team that can win now. And then you have the other fans saying, well, hey, these young kids have a lot of potential, and let's develop them.
But 1 second, before you continue, you do also understand that those are cost-controlled players making very little bit of money compared to the rest of the NBA. And when you do a trade, okay, you have to have people making equal value. So all of these hypothetical trades where we stapled Moody and Kuminga, look at people making $6, $7, $8 million around the league, and you tell me where these crazy difference makers that were going to help Steph win another ring were.
I just don't get how we're going to trade these guys when all I hear about is these guys not being ready to play. Yet you're going to trade them for a superstar.
Well, that's
just the bottom line for me.
But what about Jordan Poole? Jordan Poole's making $2 million a couple of years ago. $2 million. $3 million. You tell me where in the league they were getting better value than the $3 million, 20 point per game Jordan Poole.
I know.
Show me the guy in the league making on a championship team, and they were paying so much money in luxury tax, they had to find cost-suppressed players to be able to fit out the roster.
No doubt, because of the luxury tax. But my whole thing is 2 years ago, it just felt like the veterans didn't try to interject the youngsters. It was the vets and the youngsters. It felt like 2 different teams.
Exactly.
And you can't win basketball games like that. And it was divided. It was divided early in training camp. We know what happened between Poole and Draymond, and it just felt divided. You see Wiseman and Moody and Kuminga together, and I'm just thinking, can we get Wiseman with this guy or get Kuminga with this guy or maybe some other, I don't know. It felt like those 2 different teams. And now, Kuminga and Moody are the last. Now, finally, they accepted Podziemski. They accepted TJD. And they saved the season a season ago. They did. They saved the season. Kuminga, Pods, and TJD saved last year and got you to the 10th spot. Real quick, let's go to Olive Oil Matt. Olive Oil Matt, Nap, and then we'll get to Rich and Hayward before we get to Flem. Let's go, Olive Oil Matt.
Hey, guys. How's it going this morning?
What's up?
What's going on?
I just wanted to say I listened to Mr. T for a minute yesterday, and he was talking about J.K. doesn't have the instincts to be a great player. And I totally disagree with that. He's young. He needs to grow. And I think all these Warrior fans are fucking crazy that they want to trade all this.
You can't be cursing on the show, man. Damn, Olive Oil. You already mentioned somebody in another station. Damn. Man, call's not good. You need to contact Flowing Water Plumbing and Drain at flowingwater.net. You're not Olive Oil from The Godfather, right?
No, but what was it? Was it E40? I love me Olive Oil. Wasn't that him? Maybe I'm wrong.
Rich and Hayward. Rich and Hayward, what's up?
Hey, guys, I'll tell you one thing is that I'm not a delusional Curry fan. I'm a Warrior fan. I love Curry, but one of these first-round picks, they got to make it this year. And I think we're below the aprons, thank God, and I don't have to hear about it every day. So now you can just say, hey, play. But if you don't have the confidence to play, you're a first-round pick like Moody. You got to step up and take that 2 position between him and Pods, because Curry's not going nowhere, and unless it's 2 years from now. And Kuminga, I think he can make the next step. It's just, he seems the best out of the 3, but Moody, he's got to step up this year, and that's what I think management's counting on. Cool. And Pods, him and that other Trace Jackson Davis saved last year. They just got to continue the growth. That's all I'm saying.
Good call, Rich. Real quick, Shasky, I'm looking at the sound sheet, right? And I'm looking at Kerr's interview with Willard and Debs. And I'm seeing things about Kuminga, Steph, the starting jobs, the decision to hold Wiggins out of the Olympics. I don't see it on my board, but maybe we get that up there.
That was bizarre.
But I see nothing about Moses Moody. And it just speaks to, if the guy said freaking, I'm sorry. It sounded like the other F word.
We get a lot of swear words, and we apologize if that's the case.
That was my bad.
Sorry, Olive Oil.
He said freaking, my bad. Olive Oil, if you want to call back, call back.
We can't get in trouble.
Yeah, call back Olive Oil. It sounded like the other F word. My apologies. Maybe I need Q-tips. But it just speaks to how there's nothing about Moses Moody. And I'm thinking this guy may have a chance to start and maybe average 13, 14 a game and shoot the 3 at a high level. We just forgot about Moses. Are we that down and out by Moses Moody? Like, I don't see one question. And it's not Willard Dibs' fault. I'm not pinpointing them or anything like that. It just speaks to the overall scope about Moses Moody.
Hey, it's Moses Moody.
But I just think he's gotten, right now he's lost in the shuffle. And that happens. Like, you bring in Melton, you bring in Buddy Hield. These are guys that have more of a name recognition. Podziemski outplayed him last year.
Yeah.
And then we're still talking about Clay, right? For a good reason. So, again, on the list of people that we're thinking about, and then, to me, I keep thinking about this. Kerr's going to look down that bench, and he's going to go, yeah, me and Curry kind of trust GP2 more than Moody right now. And that could change, but and I don't agree with that, but that's, I think, what the coach has kind of proven to me that he's comfortable with.
We'll see. Let's talk to Flem. We'll switch gears to baseball, then we'll come back to hoops. A lot going on with Team USA, a lot going on with the Golden State Warriors, a lot going on out there in the sports world. Copa final set, Euro final set. We got Spain versus England. We got Argentina versus Colombia. I can't wait for that on Sunday. Going to be a great sports day. All right. Dave Fleming, coming up, brought to you by Chilton Auto Body.
Have you been in a car accident? Chilton Auto.
I just want you guys to talk about me the way you talk about Mike Florio.
Hey, yo, it's Zuchi, man. You listening to the 95.7 The Game, the morning roast with Bonte and Shasky. Oh, baby.
What up, Zuchi? Zuchi, man. What's up, everybody? Hopefully everybody's having a good Thursday morning. Don't forget, next week our lineup is going to be jacked up. Starting on Monday for 1 week only. 1 week only. Willard and Dibs will be on from 6 to 10. Shasky and I will be on from 10 to 2. And Steiny and Guru from 2 to 6. And your chance to win an autographed Klay Thompson jersey, a Golden State Warriors jersey, that is. You'll have an opportunity next week. 1 week only. Willard and Dibs from 6 to 10. Shasky and I from 10 to 2. Steiny and Guru from 2 to 6. And don't you worry. Again, it's just for a week. And it's all brought to you by Jack's Restaurant. Dave Fleming going to join us in moments on the River Islands guest line. All guests on 95.7 The Game appear on the River Islands guest line. Isn't it time for you to discover the islands, River Islands in Lathrop here? We're going to get Flim on in just a second. He's going to call back in a moment here as the Giants lose yesterday 10-6, and Webb through 4 was dealing. Absolutely filthy. One hit, thinking, okay, this guy's about to roll. Giants going to win their second straight, win the series this Tuesday night against the Blue Jays, and then we'll go for the sweep today. Did not happen because Logan Webb just lost it. What happened, Shasky? Logan Webb just the fifth inning and the sixth inning couldn't get out of it. Got to get pulled for Sean Jelly.
It felt like Wisely misplayed a ball and then just everything snowballed on him. I don't know. I don't know. It's just a funky, quirky, odd game. It felt like when the Giants were getting that 2-out rally, got the bases loaded, and you're just thinking, oh, one base hit here can really like open this game up, get Bassett out of the game. And it felt like they didn't capitalize on that. And I'm thinking, even though it was a 2-out rally and it's going to come back to bite him, and sometimes that ends up happening. I will say this, though. It was nice to see Chapman get a late game kind of
home run.
Swing. It just, him to get grooved in. I actually expect him to do something big today.
Well, I think it's the biggest start of the season for Jordan Hicks. Let's bring in Dave Fleming, one of the many great voices of the San Francisco Giants. He does it all here, and he joins us on the River Islands guest line. All guests on 95.7 The Game appear on the River Islands guest line. Is it a time for you to discover the islands, River Islands in Lathrop? Flem, good morning. Welcome back to the Morning Roast here on 95.7 The Game. Been a hell of a week for the Giants. Monday night, obviously, the Willie Bay celebration looked like it was a lot of fun. A lot of big names out there. Bill Clinton, Barry Bonds, Felipe Alou came out, Willie Brown or whatnot, and then the Giants come back Tuesday night against the Blue Jays in wild fashion. And then last night, as Logan Webb is cruising through 4, all hell broke loose for Logan. He can't get out the 5th inning, and the Giants lose a tough one to where I think today, Flem, and maybe you could agree with me on this one, I think it's the biggest start of the season for Jordan Hicks going into the break. He has to pitch well today, Flem.
Yeah, good morning. I would have lost my house yesterday if you told me Logan Webb was going to be charged with 7 earned runs the way he was going. I mean, that was one of the weirdest games of the whole year. And I would like to ask Logan just honestly whether he got distracted by, he gives up that 3-run homer. He's totally just sort of cruising along and throws what I think he thought was a good pitch. And one thing about it, he threw a changeup, and if you really dig deep into the data, his changeup the last few times out, and really all year, because last year his changeup was just awesome. And this year he's been giving up a lot more hard contact on it, and I do wonder if, if something in his brain just got ticked off, again, and he's struggling to figure out what's going on with the changeup, and it just kind of distracted him a little bit. And that's not an excuse, just because it was just so weird how well he was pitching for everything to fall apart like it did. And obviously all those runs didn't score while he was in the game. So, yeah, I think it is. It's a big game for the Giants. It's a big start for Jordan Hicks. You got to be able to match Kevin Gausman, who I think is going to come out and pitch very well. He will be highly, highly motivated today. This is a revenge game for Kevin Gausman, for sure. And so he's going to be as locked in as he can possibly be. And we know when he's locked in how good he is. So it's a tough challenge, and it's a series the Giants are figuring, hey, we need to win this series at home, which, we're just looking for the Giants to get a true, honest-to-goodness hot streak going. They have played well. They've played their best ball of the year. They've navigated a very tough schedule with a lot of injuries. The schedule does get, quote, easier when the second half begins. But you'd like to pile up some wins at home. Today's a big game.
Yeah, I just want to rat-tat-tat some of these starting pitchers. Bonte referenced Jordan Hicks, and big start today. We will see. Blake Snell pitched the night before. I thought it was a really encouraging start. I'm glad they kind of got him out of there because I wanted to see him, make two good starts before the end of this first half to kind of end it on a high note, and I thought he looked a lot better, a heck of a lot better, pounding the zone, up in the zone, down in the zone. He was a little more judicious with his pitches. And then I've really been impressed with Hayden Birdsong. I know he got yanked in the 5th inning and he wanted to stay out there. That second time through the lineup wasn't as good against Cleveland. But this rotation is starting to come around here. We haven't brought up Harrison. I think he's been a little up and down here as of late. So where are you at just on the rotation as a whole and some of those names I referenced?
Yeah, it's a good little run through. I would say big picture wise, the Giants still believe they should the starting rotation should be producing at a better clip. Like big picture wise, that's supposed to be the foundation of this team. Now we know all the injuries have been a huge reason why it hasn't been, but I mean, gosh, the Giants starters ERA is like, what is it, like 25th in the game or 20, but that's a tough formula to be a team that you want to be with that. But you go individually, like, look, I'm giving Kyle Harrison a pass. He never made a rehab start. You jump right back into the big leagues after missing a month. His first inning was a nightmare. And after that, he was better. Like I think he sort of got the feeling going. So next start's going to be really important for him. What's that, tomorrow night for Kyle? I think that's a big one for him, just to kind of right from the jump, be more consistent, the pitcher that we've seen most of this year. Birdsong, there's two things about Birdsong. Number one, everybody should be very bullish on his future. Like Hayden Birdsong has a chance to be really good. I am excited about him. But I think you said, and it is true, he still has a lot to learn that second time through, whether it's exposure to his stuff or, in my opinion, maybe a little bit more of, hey, this is a 22-year-old kid where he and his catcher are trying to figure out the sequencing and kind of how to use his arsenal the best and set up hitters. I think he's a smart pitcher. I think he's still learning that stuff. He's got to eliminate, just like Kyle, both those guys are similar. Like, eliminate the big misses. Way, way, way too many just total waste pitches that aren't doing you any good. Got to tighten that up. Like, if you want to be as good as those two guys can be, stop throwing 15 pitches a game that are easy takes and balls and are taxing you and not helping you in individual at-bats. That can be corrected, and we should be excited about both those guys. And last thing, Blake Snell, very encouraging. They need him. They need him bad because as much as we want to say Cobb and Robbie Ray, we still don't know. Yep. You don't know that those guys are going to come back and be who we think they're going to be this year. You hope, but you don't know. Snell needs to be that guy.
Yeah, you know what? I'm with you with Snell, and I'm actually buying stock in Snell because his lifetime numbers in the second half of the season are really good. July, August, and September is when we see the best of Blake Snell, so I'm buying stock into him here. But look, it looks like, Fleming, as we're talking to Dave Fleming here on the River Islands guest line, Farhan, this organization, has committed to the full youth movement. I mean, we see Wisely, we see Fitzgerald, obviously Ramos going to the All-Star game, which is a great accomplishment. Matos is getting some playing time here. We see Slater move on. We see Ahmed get DFA'd. They're committed to the youth movement. But should that change the expectations for this team? And when I say expectations, I mean playoffs. Should that change? Should we alter our expectations knowing that a lot of youngsters are playing right now for the Giants?
I don't think we should. I don't think so. I don't think they're altering their expectations. I do think that it's going to be a massive challenge for the young guys to get to the finish line this year. All of these players. Now, look, Tyler Fitzgerald's played a ton of games in the minor leagues. He knows what a long season is like. But a lot of these younger guys, pitchers and position players, are sort of testing the limits of their baseball stamina. And that's going to really show up in August and September, and we'll see how they do. Well, the three of us have seen lots of examples over the years, and not just in this sport. You see it in the NBA. Young guys playing well, and the grind of the season gets to them because it's different. And so we'll see. But I don't think that should change the expectations. I don't. When you have a team that's headlined by Webb and Snell and Doval and Chapman and Conforto and Soler and Bailey, and Ramos playing the way he is, you should be a playoff team in your mind. You should have the expectation we're good enough to get there and do damage when we get there. So I don't think it changes the expectations.
All right, a couple quick ones here. What are they going to do at shortstop? Brett Wisely's kind of cooled off a little, and I know he's playing a lot of second because Estrada just got activated. What do you think the solution is moving forward at shortstop?
I believe that is the hardest question to answer in the Giants organization right now. I think that's the most important question for now and for the next, say, 2 years to answer. They don't have, I shouldn't say that. Brett Wisely's made amazing progress this year. I don't want to discount the fact that he can get there someday, but I believe he could be a high-level second baseman in the big leagues. I think it is a stretch. Shortstop is different. Mm-hmm. It is the most demanding position out there on the diamond. A catcher probably is, but catcher a different skill set in terms of just athleticism, arm, reaction, eliminating mistakes. You have to have a shortstop who is buttoned up. And Wisely is inexperienced there. They need a shortstop, a true, and Nick Ahmed is a defensive major league shortstop. Nick just wasn't hitting enough to balance things out. I don't know if Brett Wisely is that guy. I think we're going to find out. He's going to play there a lot, but you even saw last night, it's a work in progress. I think it's at least possible that the Giants shortstop is not on the Giants right now. They need a guy.
Is that the number one need at the deadline, or is that more of a big picture type of a deal?
I think the answer is probably both. I think if you could swing a deal at the deadline that was not a short-term rental. Now, if somebody was dumping a shortstop who is a really solid, I just don't see who that player is right now. I'm looking around and going, I don't see a solid big league shortstop who's, a rental at a lower cost. You're not going to give up your prospect inventory for a rental in a season like this where you're still trying to scratch and claw to fight. That's just dumb. That would not be the right way to go. But you could give up your prospect inventory for a shortstop who's going to be with you for not just this year, but for the next while. And if that player were to pop up and be available, I could see the Giants making a move like that. So I think the answer can be both, but my gut tells me it's more of an off-season project than an in-season project.
Heck, maybe he's playing on the other side today. Bo Bichette, maybe that's your shortstop. No, I'm kidding, Flip. But I'm with you there. Real quick, back to the starting rotation, because it is interesting. Let's say, hypothetically, Snell's doing his thing. Robbie Ray and Cobb gets back, which we don't know what they're going to look like. We have no idea. So we have to kind of set the bar low with these guys. But if they do come back and pitch well, there's going to be a logjam here with the starting rotation. So we already know about Hicks. He's already pitched a career high in innings. Kyle Harrison has never pitched this deep into a season or has been extended. Could you see both those guys maybe going to the pen? And I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing for that if the Giants are in the hunt here. What happens with this rotation? How do you see it playing out?
Yeah, if everything works out well, then you have a good problem on your hands. Hicks is way more natural of a slide over to the bullpen because he's done it before. And I think Jordan, even though he wants to keep pitching as a starter, and for the 4 years of his deal, he definitely wants to be a starter. But the first year of this conversion project, Jordan, I've talked to him, he is realistic about where he stands in terms of those innings. So I think Hicks, if it gets to the point where he just starts to feel fatigued, I think he will be okay with sliding into the bull. I mean, everybody wants to do what's best for the team. So I'm not saying somebody's going to protest, but I think he understands that move may have to come at some point.
Be great for the pen, Phil. That'd be great for the pen. He's a hell of an arm.
Oh my gosh. Like, they have, plus you just take some burden away from, like, you have to, it's impossible not to start to ask the question after the last two nights. We've seen Walker give it up and we've seen Jelly give it up 2 times in a row. And Jelly like 4 times out of the last 5, something like that. Like, you have to start to wonder whether some workload is taking a toll on a few of these guys. So just spreading the burden around could be huge. Hicks could be a great weapon there.
About Harrison, you think Harrison could make that adjustment? He's a good kid, and I don't know if he'll lose confidence. Do you just keep him in that rotation and just ride it out?
I think so. I just, for me personally, I don't see that being easy for him. Now, maybe I could be wrong. You could try it. Like there would be no harm. Like if you have a glut and you're trying to cap his innings and see what it looks like one inning at a time, you could try that, and maybe he looks great. My guess is that he, a guy who doesn't throw as many strikes as you need to, it's going to be a harder fit for him, who's never done that before, come out of the bullpen. You probably wouldn't be, I think the other thing about Kyle is if you put him down there, would you be asking him to come in back-to-back games as a 22-year-old who you think is a big part of your future as a starter? Probably not, and that's where it becomes hard. It's like, how do you carry a guy or two or three down there, where you have rules about how you use them? That becomes tough.
All right, let's we got to talk about the positive here. Elliot Ramos named All-Star. I mean, he's a center fielder. He's a young prospect, essentially, that we all kind of like gave up on, myself included. And he's made the most of his opportunities. He got his foot in the door, and he's been outstanding. Defensively, I just didn't know he was this good in center field. He takes good routes, sure-handed, hits the cutoff. Offensively, I mean, he's got power. He's hitting for average. He's clutch. He's demonstrating some speed, when needed. He's just been an all-around excellent player for this team moving forward. I mean, what do they do long-term in the outfield here with him? I know they got Jung-Hoo Lee, and I want to see him finish this year out, but it feels like he is one of the first blocks of what we've been hearing about for 5 years, and I'm just really excited for him, and I'm really happy for where he's at.
Yeah, you should be. I think Lee goes back into center field, but I think Ramos is a great fit for right field. We saw him play there earlier this year, and what was it like? He threw two guys out in the same game with his arm. He's got a good arm. He definitely has the arm for right field. I think he could be a plus right fielder, and in this park, that's very important. So I think that's probably the way it lines up next year. Yeah, you gotta. I mean, it's 200 at bats or whatever. That's not enough to say he's an established big leaguer, but everything about him right now screams a guy who's got the physical talent and has made the turn mentally and in terms of his approach to make this stick. Like the swing he had the other night to hit that home run, that's a 95-mile-an-hour fastball from a guy who's blowing the Giants away, down and in, and he hits it to right center field 420 feet. Like, there are not many. Like, we're talking about these are the best baseball players in the world, and it's a very small group of the best who can do what he did with that ball. That is some special ability. He's got a lot of swing and miss. The three of us have talked about it all year. That is always going to be an issue for him. If he balances that out by not chasing and taking some walks and still doing damage, you live with the swing and miss. It's okay. If he gets back into chase mode, that's where it becomes a problem. But gosh, he's made so much progress there. Everybody should be super excited. Plus, the last point about Ramos, he's got almost like the Pablo energy to him. Like, he's got so much positivity down there. He is such a good teammate. He is energetic every day. Like, in a baseball season, that is so important to have a couple guys like that around who just show up every day. They want to be in the lineup. They're bouncing around. They pull everybody along with them. Chapman's like that. Matt's a little less boisterous, but that's a guy who's posting every day and is like a great example for everybody else. Like, we were in Cleveland, I think, over the weekend, and it was Sunday morning, so we're getting ready for the day game after a afternoon game, and it's 85 degrees on the field. And the one guy who's out there in his workout clothes taking ground balls is Matt Chapman. Like, the last guy in the world who needs to do it. The guy is the best at what he does, and there he is just grinding it out in the hot sun before the game. Like, the work ethic example of Matt Chapman is awesome.
Yeah, he's been a good Giant this season. Rahamal's going to the All-Star game. First time since 1971 the Giants have had a homegrown pitcher and outfielder in the same All-Star game. 71, that was Bobby Bonds, Willie Mays, Willie McCovey, Juan Marichal. Flem, thanks so much for the time today. Have a good call. Got to get this game today. Rubber match. Big start for Jordan Hicks, man. We'll be watching.
Hold the line against Gausman and make it a game late. The Giants are so good late. Don't let what happened last night happen today, and I think they're in good shape.
No doubt, no doubt. We'll talk to you next week, Flem.
See you guys. Thanks.
All right, Dave Fleming here on the River Islands guest line here about the Giants. Hicks, natural transition to the bullpen. Kyle Harrison sounds like he's may stick. Or I wonder what they do, because it may come down to Birdsong or Harrison. Right now, Birdsong looks better. Birdsong does look better, or maybe he just – I don't know what you do here, but somebody's got to start giving this team 6 innings. The bullpen is getting worn out here. Ryan Walker's getting worn out. Sean Gillies worn out. God, the Rogers brother, worn out, dude. Miller, worn out. We got to get some guys in this starting rotation to go deep into some ball games.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I'm just not sure what the top end of this version of the Giants is. It doesn't feel like this is their window. I'm not punting on the season per se, but if I'm looking at the big picture, I think the biggest thing that I took away from what Flem said, organizationally, shortstop is a giant hole. I mean, that's like undeniable. And you referenced Bo Bichette, who's playing on the opposite side of Toronto. I don't know if Toronto's going to trade. They're in a weird spot. They're in a weird division.
They have sell written all over it. Hey, they don't. I don't know what's going on with that team.
I don't either. Now, that's a guy who's got multiple years left under team control. Yep. So he would fit the bill with what Flem is describing. Someone that they could acquire for not just 1 year or a rental for this year, like a long term.
He signed through 2025 after signing a 3-year, $36 million deal. So he'll be an unrestricted free agent after next season.
Yeah. And you know, he's a guy that defense took a minute for him to become proficient. He's still not the best defender. Let me throw a random one at you. And I know you're really reluctant to move Blake Snell, and I don't think this is a reasonable deal. I'm just saying hypothetically. I'm looking around the minor leagues, and there's a lot of teams that are really frustrated with the high and low end of the minor leagues. Giants are not alone in that. I'm looking at the Orioles, and you know, their GM was on a broadcast, like I think about 10, 15 days ago, and people were asking him, like, what's going on with Jackson Holliday, the #1 overall prospect in the minor leagues. He came up, like Gunnar Henderson did, came up and struggled, like Rutschman did, like Colton Cowser has. Like, a lot of their guys have struggled early, and they stuck with them, and now, like, 4 of those guys might end up being all-stars this weekend, you know, playing. I know you're going to
that
last 2 months that Gunnar Henderson got with the Orioles last year. Audi Rutschman, who we're going to see in the home run derby.
So
you did say Rutschman.
I know, funny. That was just a nod.
Don't play me, play him.
Well, he's trying to save himself that it was actually making fun of you the whole time, which is a smart move by Shasky.
It is.
It's
I'll be honest. I call him Audi Rutschman now just because of that. So
here was the exact quote when he was on the broadcast, the Orioles broadcast.
Screw you guys.
He said, you know, Jackson Holliday, he is the #1 prospect in minor league baseball. This is a hard talent to get your hands on. We have him. We've been developing him. We've got very high hopes for him. He's exceptionally far ahead of anyone else in his age group. So it's not something we're going to be eager to explore. They literally went from when's his debut to would you entertain trades in 3 months. Now, I'm not saying that they're going to trade him, but they're the kind of team that does have a plethora of young players, and they're in a win now mode. And a guy like Blake Snell, you'd have to sweeten it. It's not just a Blake Snell deal, but a guy like Blake Snell, those are the kind of teams that I might be exploring to get the future shortstop of this organization.
So if you do trade Snell,
it's so unlikely. I want to make sure that's clear.
Yeah. But if you get a Jackson Holliday, and I don't know who Jackson Holliday is, he had a problem hitting lefties, but he is a prospect, and we've been hearing about him for a long time.
He struck out like 18 times in 30 at-bats. He wasn't good.
He was awful at the major league level, and he doesn't have plus speed that we all believe.
No,
like we look at his numbers here. I've just pulled up his minor league numbers. We think he's a speed guy. Well, he had 24 stolen bases in 4 leagues, across 4 leagues. Not bad, but not great, right? He's not known for that speed. He's a contact hitter. He's going to hit for average. He's going to put the ball in play and get on base. That's the hope. But if you do that, you're basically saying we're playing for next season and we're playing for the future. And we're punting on the playoffs, even though we hear Flynn again. When I asked him, are you altering the expectations with all these youngsters? He goes, no, the playoffs are still the expectation. The ownership group, playoffs are still the expectation. Farhan Zaidi, again, the stakes are high. And I'm not talking about medium rare. I'm talking about well done, baby. You got to go. You got to go. You got to burn these babies up. You got to do it, whatever you got to do to get to the playoffs. So, listen, Blake Snell, you want to trade him, go ahead. But then I'm saying hypothetically.
Yeah.
But here's the flip side.
What's that?
Who else is going to give you 5 innings?
I mean,
this starting rotation is going to take it. We already are looking for pitching. We're talking about the bullpen, Warren. But I hear you on the hypothetical. If the Orioles want to trade,
when I saw Nick Ahmed get DFA'd, so like I think you could interpret it a variety of ways. Some would say, "Oh, well, this is them acknowledging this guy can't hit, whatever." To me, it was more like, "Oh, you're getting rid of Slater and Nick Ahmed within a week of each other." You understand the big picture here. You're not a contender. Like to me, that was them. And maybe I'm the one misinterpreting it, but to me, it was like, all right, you're not a contender. You realize it. Good on you. Thank you. And this is where the whole Farhan extension thing kind of went under the rug. And I said, like, hey, when you get the extension, I think it gives you a little breathing room to be more realistic with your roster as opposed to chasing the false wild card spot that's going to be out there all year. I probably want to keep Blake just because lefties are hard to come by and you still have him under team control. Essentially, if he opts in for another year, you could work out an extension. But he's the kind of guy that might net you something, and you'd have to staple a Luciano or something else to that package.
He has a player option.
You'd have to have some more than just that. But those are the kinds of teams I'm looking at.
So where are Giant fans at with this? Are you okay with missing the playoffs to go get other prospects and build for the future even more? Do you want to really sit this out?
Don't we need a shortstop, though? Like, we can't be taken serious.
I need starting pitching.
I know, but that's so fickle.
I need bullpen help. I may need another bat.
I think starting shortstop is the most, like when I look at the teams that are exciting with a lot of hope, a lot of them have a clear-cut shortstop.
So who's in the playoffs right now? Philly, they have Trey Turner.
Mm-hmm.
He's come back with a vengeance. Trey Turner. Awesome.
Since the injury, he's been.
He's always awesome, Shasky.
He missed like 2 months.
Yeah, he's always awesome though. Injured or not, Trey Turner's that dude. The Dodgers, Mookie Betts struggled at shortstop
defensively, but offensively he was outstanding.
He's great.
Yeah.
But we watched Brady Crawford for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't great offensively for the Giants.
Yeah, but I mean, he's one of the greatest defensive shortstops.
Yeah, exactly. But he wasn't a bat. So give or take, right? Can Wisely give me something at the plate where he's giving me speed, athleticism, putting the ball in play? Can he be that guy for the next 3 months?
I mean, he's starting to taper off. He's, I think he's like 4 for 30 or something like that over the last, 9 or 10 games. I like Wisely, but to me, Wisely is more of a second baseman, just body type and what he brings. Because I can be a mediocre to above average defensive second baseman with plus bat, and I need my defensive players at shortstop. That is a defensive premium position.
And then we look at the Baltimore Orioles, for example, right? They're a team. They've got a new ownership group. This new ownership group said they're going to spend money.
This is their win now window.
Well, these players are young, though. These players are young. Gunner's young. Alley's young. They've got a lot of young talent, man. A lot of young talent.
They're not going to be able to keep all of them, but you get where I'm going.
Westberg, at some point they may not be. Colton Cowser. They got the other outfielder. I can't even pronounce his last name. I don't know if he's Dutch or what. He's a baller, though. I don't know if Baltimore's going to just be, give it.
Here's that out there.
I know. I'm just trying to think. I'm trying to just think about the teams.
Another name that's logically linked to them, and I get that. I like Bo Bichette. I don't love him. I think if his name was like Bo Green and he had no father in the big leagues, I don't think he would be as enticing. I think because it's the Bichette name, he's a good player, but he's not somebody I'm knocking the door down for.
We're talking shortstop. That means we're all done with Marco Luciano? We're done with that adventure at shortstop?
They've played him at second, a little in the minors, and it feels like he's not going to be playing shortstop.
Are we all done with Casey Schmidt being a shortstop with the Giants?
You were talking about defensive first, bat second guys. I mean, he's your prototype, and I just don't think I don't know. And he made a couple boo-boos at short defensively. That happens. This is a tough, demanding position.
So
a shortstop's going to be like, I'm telling you, like this is I'm looking at him. This is going to be a position we're going to be talking a lot about, and I think that the Giants need to be open to this. And there's a 16-year-old that they've been linked to who's supposed to be the best international free agent, but that guy's 16. He's 16.
Bo Bichette, 306, 20 jacks last year, 2022, 24 home runs, 290 average. The ballpark probably helps. Playing in the AL East probably helps. But how will it translate to Oracle Park?
Yeah, that's a great.
That's
question.
what we got to think about.
That's a great question.
How does it translate to Oracle Park? He's a nice player. He's better than anybody we have right now. So I don't know. I don't know.
You're going to have these games where like Fitzgerald and Wisely are going back and forth. And if you can continue to like wring the towel and squeeze every drop out of the two of them, I would probably go that route for the rest of this year.
It just feels like this team has a lot of holes.
It does.
Okay, you want to fix the shortstop? Okay, what about first base?
Well, Lamar Wade's been better.
He's been solid. He's been solid. Tyro Estrada. Been a down year at second base.
I think Estrada is a guy that could get dealt at the deadline.
Well, what is he going to net you?
Not much.
You know?
But he's a guy that, like, to me, you're talking about sweeteners. He's a guy you're stapling with other players because he is a utility type of a guy for another team.
You know, the Giants are 1 year away from being 1 year away again. That's everything I'm gathering and everything I'm listening to,
like
and everything I'm seeing.
Is Bailey an everyday catcher?
Right, he is.
Okay.
But you're 1 year away from maybe being a year away.
But okay, which is better than last year.
Which is better than being 3 years away.
See, like I'm looking at it right now and I'm saying like Bailey is an everyday catcher. Great. Check. Okay. Center field. I don't think Ramos will stay in center field long term, though I do think we will have that conversation next year with Jung-Hoo Lee. Like, are we sure about Jung-Hoo Lee? Ramos played pretty good this year. He's an all-star. He is going to be in the outfield. Those are two spots.
Jung-Hoo Lee, forgot all about him.
I would like to see what happens with Chapman. I want to keep Chapman another couple years, but he probably wants
player option,
5.
Right? He has a player option, right?
Yeah, and I think he's going to opt out. I think he's going to get money.
He may go somewhere with that stuff.
I like Chapman. I think Chapman fits.
No, I do think he fits.
But to your point, like, I'll give you this. We've got two guys that are young and in their primes or entering their primes. We didn't have that last year. We didn't know about Bailey. Could he put together a full season? Well, it's been about a year now, and I think Bailey's legit.
That loss last night was tough because now we're back to this conversation. And it just makes you, when you take a lens out, you zoom out of the Giants right now, you just realize that they're just a team. They're just interesting enough to make you talk about them from time to time. But are they a real threat? And this is what year for Farhan Zaidi? 6?
Well,
year 6?
You know how we talk about timelines? I just don't think their young pitching is ready. The starting pitching, Birdsong and Harrison, and even Hicks, because he's still very young. I don't and they've gotten good starts out of Harrison early on and Hicks. I don't think their timeline matches up with trying to win right now.
So 5 of the 6 years, we may have the possibility that a Farhan Zaidi-led organization will not make the playoffs. And he got the extension. Now, I don't know how long the extension is. What is it? 1 year, 2 years, Lebron?
I believe it's 2 more years after this year. So it's in line with Bob Melvin's deal, which is usually how the Giants like to do things.
So he's going to get another year, at least, if this team misses the playoffs in 5 of the 6 years he's been under control.
What if I told you?
We still don't even know who the shortstop is. We may not know who the second baseman is. I don't even know who's going to play first base next season. Jung-Hoo Lee?
First base is Bryce Eldridge down the line. That's
down the line.
Yeah,
but is it next year?
That's going to happen.
Is it next year?
Well, he's already in high single A. He's progressed fantastically, and he's going to be in the futures game next weekend. And so I think it's pretty safe to say this guy will be in Double A to start next year, and he'll be knocking on the door by September.
Great. I'm excited.
I mean, he's 18 right now.
Yeah, no, I am excited about that. But the fact that we have to wait another year and a half for we don't even know if he's going to be up next year.
And then we have to hope that he sticks, too. We started this conversation, I'll talk about Jackson Holiday and how he was the greatest thing, and then he struggled this year, and now they're talking about trading him. So we need to hope that doesn't happen with Bryce Eldridge.
They didn't say trade him.
They didn't say they were going to trade him. They didn't say no. That was the big deal.
You never say no. That's how you do business. You never say no.
Unless
my point is the Bryce Eldridge hype, he needs to get up here and also hit when he gets up here, too. So it's a lot to wait for.
We don't know about Jung-Hoo Lee. I know everybody was excited about Jung-Hoo Lee. I saw him crash into a wall like 8 times this season. He only played like 40-some games. He had 2 stolen bases, got caught stealing 3 times. OPS is under 700. Like, I don't even know if Jung-Hoo Lee's a player.
So I'll give you that.
So now, and then you got all these player options. So we don't know if Snell's going to be back. What's Robbie Ray's deal? He's got another year?
No, he's a free agent after this year.
He's a free agent, so he's a free agent after the year.
He's gone.
So he's gone.
He's gone.
So now you're coming back next year, Logan Webb, Birdsong, Kyle Harrison.
all along, this is just my belief. If I'm looking at Robbie Ray, we should look at like the Johnny Cueto final couple starts. I believe it was like 2018, 19, when he was coming back from Tommy John. Like, that's what you should be looking at with Robbie Ray. He's just going to show teams that he's healthy enough. You can't rely on him to go deep. Like, coming off of TJ, no. Just no.
Oh, Robbie Ray has an opt-out after the year. He's gone. 2 more years after this.
Yeah, he's gone. Wow. He's a left-hander.
So wow. If Draymond doesn't get suspended, right? We don't know if Jonathan Kuminga is the player he is.
That's a good point.
You know, like Wiggins slumping. Kuminga finally got his shot. Sometimes it happens. Draymond Green got his shot. David Lee got hurt with the hamstring injury.
That's a good point.
And the rest is history. Now he's walking into the Hall of Fame one day. You know what I'm saying? We didn't know if Draymond Green was that player. So sometimes you need an injury or two. You need some luck to go your way. But it's unfortunate that you signed a guy to $113 million, and he gets hurt out of 40-something games, and we still know who Jug Hooley is. We still don't know. This team is so illegal. Oh man, this team's so far away. It's actually in Farhan got 2 more years. I was about to give Farhan praises on Monday night on Twitter. I backed off of it. I just don't. 2 years, and this is what we're working with.
Farhan's cooked.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM, in HD1 San Francisco, and Odyssey Sports Station, always live on the free Odyssey app. Don't forget, all guests on 95.7 The Game appear on the River Islands guest line. Isn't it time for you to discover the islands, River Islands in Lathrop? Real quick before the break, we'll pivot back to the Warriors and documentaries you want to see. Maybe we didn't name anything. 888-957-9570. If there's any doc on the Bay Area team that you would want to see, what Bay Area team would that be? What year, what team, what sport, all that stuff. But I didn't get your recap of the summit. We all had our recaps of the summit on Monday night. You were out for 2 days. You recap of the summit. Did you have a good time?
Yeah, it was beautiful. Fremont Bank treated us fantastic.
Like rock stars, right?
Yeah, they were like such great people, and I thought it was a really good, intimate evening. It was a lot of fun. I think my personal favorite of the entire night was seeing you and Guru go at it. That was pretty funny.
What did we go at it
Well, you were laughing, and Guru was like screaming across the table. Guru turned into the Hulk.
Oh, because Monte didn't win. Oh, he was talking about lottery marketed and trading Kuminga, and I was just like, you don't think Kuminga would average 24, 25 on the Utah Jazz? Somebody's got to score.
Know that.
You don't know that.
Guru had a couple of lines that were pause.
I was rooting against Bonte.
Yeah, we know about the big pause.
And then Steiny, like I'm telling you, man, there's no WWE heel in radio outside of Nick Wright who literally knows how to alienate himself from everyone in the crowd like Steiny, and he does it with just enough twinkle in the eye to where he's almost beloved as a bad guy.
Give me the meat.
Yeah.
He likes it. Tim Jordan had a great time. It was a great time. Willard and Dibbs, it was good to see them. Dibbs getting some touches, getting the ball passed to him. It's like, come on, Dibbs, let's go. 2 minutes. That's from Sam Lubman. 2 minutes. By the way,
what'd you think?
By the way, I don't even know if Lubman was chilling.
What about you, Stoney? Like, I didn't hear your recap. Why? Did you have like something profound?
No, I just gave my thoughts on it. I was listening.
My thoughts to it. He gave my thoughts on it Tuesday night.
No, it was not. It was good. It was a good time. I always like seeing all the fans. It was a new crop this time too.
Yeah, it was good.
Some of the older heads that have been P1 since day one. It was good to see everything. And it wasn't like a bajillion degrees, I'm sure, which is nice.
It was nice.
Because it probably would not have been as nice if it was 90 plus degrees.
It was lovely. Uncle Looney, Guru is a walking Red Bull. That's a good point.
Guru was cooking at the summit. I enjoyed his cooking a lot.
Guys go to the summit trying to win the MVP award. They want to be the star.
But this is what I like, and I love Guru, and I'll say
Steiny and Guru play to the crowd. They wanted to be the MVP.
Yeah, Guru especially.
I like to talk. I don't like to talk as much as I like to just sit back.
You were ready to go. I thought you were good.
I was just chilling.
Yeah,
it flew by. If I
wanted the ball,
but that's the thing with Guru. I love Guru, but if I were to lay all of his thoughts out, the amount of contradiction, I mean, it would just be all over the map. I mean, it's just
bothering me.
I want to see the young players, but you gotta trade them all away. Like it's just.
Man.
Hey, for Jacked Up next week, I'm actually looking forward to the old crosstalk in the afternoon when you guys hand it off to Steiny.
We will not be doing crosstalk. Nope. I have opted out of crosstalk.
Okay, well then
is that official, or are you just saying that now? Because I don't know if we have say over that.
Yeah.
Well, I
think that's a program.
Let me just tell you, I've uprooted my life for next week to be a team player.
Okay.
And
my name is Bennett. I'm not in it. Morale, the birthday boy. Bonte, please, I know you respect the fans. but please don't promote the Giants. They're absolutely fraudulent. You know it, and everyone knows it. Come on, bruh. That's Morelli. He's mad at me. Birthday boy, don't be mad at me. Got to talk some Giants here and how depressing they are at times. Got to win today. Jordan Hicks on the mound. Got to win today. But by the way, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter brought to you by First NorCal Credit Union. For a low rate all alone, apply online or just ask for First NorCal financing at the dealer. 888-957-9570. Let's talk receiver doc, front office doc with the New York Giants. There's any documentary you would like to see filmed on any Bay Area sports team. You get one for each sport, one for each team. What would it be? We're doing this a little earlier, having some fun with that. Shasku rehash his. I'll rehash mine. We got Spinotti Lubman as well. That's all coming up. Brought to you by Save Mart in Lucky, California.
The Savings Road Trip game of Monopoly.
All right, what's up? Surprised he wasn't there at Fremont. We're at Fremont Bank. Where the hell were you at, Jeremiah? Hopefully you're having a great morning along with all the roasters out there getting off their graveyard shifts. If you're at work, you know what time it is. All the overnight dancers, cops, firefighters, you know it. Next week, our lineup is going to be jacked up, of course. You heard the commercial. We'll learn the dibs from 6 to 10. It'll be your morning roast. Shaska and I from 10 to 2. We'll impersonate Steiny and Goo because they'll be on from 2 to 6. We'll do a little crossover, or maybe. We'll see about that. Here's your chance to win an autographed Klay Thompson Warriors jersey. And don't you worry, it's just for a week. Just for 1 week. And it's all brought to you by Jack's Restaurant. Real quick, some news and notes. Bill Belichick is dating his 24-year-old. It's very awkward. The pictures look awkward as hell.
He's too old.
Yes. What are you doing, Bill? It could be your great-granddaughter.
I mean, like, could you imagine, like, I'm going to bring my boyfriend home for, dinner, guys. Do you mind?
It's Bill Belichick, and he's older than the parents.
It'd be very weird.
Very odd. Well, he's going to join Inside the NFL this year with Ryan Clark and Ocho Cinco. That show returns August 30th, Inside the NFL. Chris Long as well on the CW. Bill Belichick will be part of that program. So some news and notes on Bill Belichick. But I didn't get your thoughts on Klay Thompson's introductory press conference with the Dallas Mavericks.
I'm watching the Mavs, make a run for the championship. I just saw myself fitting in really well with this team and the personnel, and they look like they have fun playing with each other, and they play for each other, and that was very attractive for me, and that's really all I needed to see, and there's mutual interest there, and that's why I'm here.
What was your overall takeaway from hearing from Klay getting introduced to the Dallas media? What was that, Tuesday morning?
I just think in general, I wish him well, and part of me is a little ready to just turn the page for everyone involved, and it's not a fault of Klay's or Steve Kerr. All these people, they're getting asked these questions and they have to answer them. And I understand that. It's just, I've reached the point of oversaturation regarding the emotions and the things and just the stuff. Like, I don't want to go back over the last 2 years. I feel like I've gotten enough information, and now I'm just kind of ready to just all right, let's just turn the page. And I understand why in society we don't, because this is going to come right back up again when they play the Warriors, and all these things are going to be rehashed. And I don't view this as the Warriors trying to win the divorce or Klay trying to win the divorce or change the narrative or anything. This is just natural. And when a breakup happens, I'm just ready for everybody to just kind of settle into their new
season. I expect them to play at a high level. And I expect him not to get suspended for multiple games. What was our bet? He's going to play at least 65 games? He's going to play
I don't know. What was the bet?
At least 65 games, unless an injury. I think there's a caveat here with the injury. If he tears a knee up, that's not fair. I'm saying he's going to play 65 games.
Older players do get hurt. So, what if he's dealing with, the guy missed 20 games
with the back.
Because of the back. Come on. You can't bake in the injury part.
No, I think we can. We'll work on the fine details of that one.
I want to go through the fine details of this back.
It's always fun game. Always fun game. I think he's going to play 65. At least. So I expect Psychotic, thanks for the $5. I expect Draymond Green to be Draymond Green.
And part of that is he's going to miss time.
Yeah, he'll miss a couple games. Steve Kerr touched on Klay Thompson, and I think this is the official. I thought Klay Thompson put a ball on it, saying that, hey, don't be sad it ended, be happy it happened. He's in a new place. We're in a new place. We got a new roster. And I think slowly but surely we have about the 13 years, and just recap the last 2 years. Well, the last 2 years.
Well, at times for us over the last few years, and obviously helped us win a championship in 22. You look at the numbers, even though this wasn't his best year, he still averaged 18 points and shot, I think, 39% from three, something like that. So, he's still a really high-level player. It's just in his own mind, and I think in the minds of everyone watching, he wasn't the same guy and as he was prior to the injuries, and Klay really struggled with that. And I think the stuff that went on organizationally, honestly, I think that stuff is all sort of just a byproduct of the frustration with the injuries. And we were always, in great stead with Klay in terms of our relationship and, communicating how we felt about him. But he, in the end, really needed this career change, and I think it's going to be good for him.
All right, we'll apologize on YouTube. We're having some technical difficulties there. Go log in. We should be back. YouTube was buffering a little bit, but that's Steve Kerr on Klay Thompson. And, I think we all agree at the end of the day, a change was needed for both. A change was needed for both. Klay gets his opportunity to play with a good Mavericks team. He'll be able to get all the wide open threes he should be able to get. The Warriors will move on with a team that many feel on paper is better than last season's team. Now, I need to see that. I need to see it to believe it. They didn't win 46 games last season. And, these moves they've made with D'Anthony Clay, it was the finishing that got to this guy. Not finishing games got to Klay Thompson. Not the starting thing. A little bit. All right, you're going to bitch me for pods? Okay, great. And he came back in 15 games later, he was starting. But the finishing, these players, and that's the thing going into next season. Who finishes these basketball games? Who's going to be your final five? That's always fascinating to me, Shasky.
Yeah, I don't want to dive too deep into like the words people are using and split them apart and, look real deep into certain things. But when I hear him at a Mavs podium talk about I could still be, touch greatness and I understand that there's the confidence that you have to play professional sports, but this is in part why I think it's been very difficult for him to kind of come to a realization of where he's at. I think that he continues to try to channel back the old Klay, or at least, draw from that. And I understand why you would if you were one of the greatest players ever. But I also think it's all in a weird way kind of holding him back a little,
I think he'll be fine. Look, he still said, you can't leave me open, which he's right. You can't leave him open. You leave him open, you're going to get burned. It is what it is. This is where Jason Kidd comes into play. And I think Jason Kidd, at this juncture of his career, is one of the better coaches
the Warriors went through. And I'm hypothetically, are we going to play PJ Washington here or Klay Thompson down the stretch? And how is he going to react when it's not his number called? And then how's he going to respond to that? And we don't know, and we'll see. And time will tell. They might try it where he doesn't, finish games to start off with, or the reverse, and he's starting it and go back and forth. And I'm interested to see what ends up happening for him. I'll be rooting for him. But I think he's going to have to. What?
I'm kidding.
What'd you say?
I was throwing a little joke in there.
What would
Are
you
going to
say?
root for him or Max Strus? I'm kidding.
Well, they got only $1 million difference.
Laugh about it. Laugh. Please laugh.
I mean, I don't know. I think Klay is, it's been frustrating for everybody involved because pre-Klay, it's got a Bowman-like feel to it, even though he returned and became closer to, the player that he was in Bowman did. But it's got a Bowman-like feel where it's like, poor guy was literally at the top of his game, and it's just never going to.
But he did lead the league at threes and made threes. I don't think we can scoff at that. I know people do. I don't think we can scoff at that. Sam Abing sat down with Steph Curry for a little one-on-one. Here's his biggest takeaway from Curry in his one-on-one. He was on with Steph.
Or real. Do they get extended? I mean, it's going to depend on what number each side is willing to go to. I sense a bit more maybe patience this time around than maybe the Jordan Poole situation. So I'm not sure that does or doesn't get done, but I think that's kind of separate from the other question you have, which is, do they look at a different guy to potentially trade for? To me, there's not an obvious clean fit like a Lauri Markkanen. What Lauri Markkanen does, his age, his price, I don't see Brandon Ingram as somebody that they're dying to necessarily go after right now. I don't think Zach LaVine at 3 for $130 is that appealing of a contract. Zach LaVine's a guy, if they wanted on their roster at this point, they could have already had. Not guys will materialize. Maybe if you wait into the season, somebody pops free, Jimmy Butler sitting there on an expiring deal. Does that go haywire in Miami?
What's your thoughts? Markkanen? Are they marketing away, or would you stand pat? Because I'm not mad at the Warriors if they want to stand pat for the first 2-3 months of the season and see what happens around the deadline. Now, a key point with Markkanen again, he's in Utah for a season.
I think Markkanen makes you better. I don't think you're a Markkanen away from being a contender. That is a few freeway exits a little far from me, but you're in the mix, right? And you're in the mix for what would be a playoff spot. I think you're kind of in the mix regardless. In terms of playoff spots, you're in the mix. Playoff spots, you're in the mix right now. But the team chemistry is clearly an important thing with this organization, and they just all got to be on the same page. And everyone's going to have to come to some sort of a kumbaya when it comes to role playing time. The fact that you've been dangled. One thing is very clear: whether you're watching the New York Giants Hard Knocks or whether you're watching the Warriors the last few years, everybody says it's business, it's business, it's business. It is so much more personal. These guys.
That surprises you, huh?
No, it's just the sheen fakeness of everything. We're all businessmen, and this is about business. No, the reality is that
personal and it's business. Well, business becomes personal because you're messing with our pockets, right? Doesn't business become personal? It's kind of natural for business to become personal.
Well, there's the Alan Greenspans of the world where everything is transactional and it's not personal. And then there's the athlete whose life is on the line in their mind, right? Yeah. Where they feel like they've earned equity and they deserve certain things and they feel respect, disrespect, etc. And so, but again, but here's and I'm not faulting, but when you say the athletes are saying like, oh, it's just business. It's just.
And one thing we learned about this NBA offseason, knowing what the new CBA is all about.